organization against KC. So casters, over to you guys.
Yeah, first best of 5 for NAVI. Welcome to the Big Boys League. Apparently, myself, Acerix, Jack, and Vedius will take you through this elimination BF5. Remember, the loser of this is out. And for NAVI versus KC, I mean, two teams that, you know, over this year so far have put up quite a couple of numbers. NAVI, especially in versus, and KC with big expectations.
Yeah, I do think that KC should be the favorites coming into this best of 5, even though they did get rolled by G2, quite frankly. Yeah. We haven't seen NAVI in weeks, but what we did see from the regular season was them trying to change their style, trying different things, but ultimately not finding a huge amount of success when they did deviate from the tried and true, put Relech on a carry, put Maintra on a tank, and everyone else just kind of fills a role.
Go well.
I completely agree. And I hope they don't try to deviate too much. I think Relech on a carry, it's a tried and tested formula. It really works. And I also think it's interesting kind of the similarities to both of these teams. Both of them are very, very comfortable in the regular season. And then it seems like once it gets into playoffs, we easily see either Kana or Yike underperforming for KC. And I mean, last split, NAVI finished, what, 5th, 6th? It was pretty disappointing for them. I think it's definitely a chance for NAVI to show that they belong with the big boys.
It was especially since the whiplash of Versus where they finished 2nd at 7-4 and people were very hyped. You know, again, coming back to the Relech playstyle, it was his jungle picks that opened up his debut in the LEC that, again, people were looking forward to. That it felt like at the start of spring was looking a little bit normie. Like Relech's champion pool were things like the Vi coming in, we got Zinzao, we got Pantheon, and while they're strong in the meta, we know him for things like the Kiana, like the Aatrox, the Zahen. We've got.
I still think he's had more variety than a lot of other junglers. I mean, of course, like he's been playing the Aatrox, the Zayn.
I'm counting 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 individual jungles. There's variety. It just feels like he's now going back to more of that various playstyle and champion picks, you know, and that's exciting.
I also think, like, with the Ambessa nerf now, that's definitely probably out for him. I think the Lee Sin could be a big pickup. He's been spamming like Lee Sin, Rek'Sai. I think both. Rek'Sai maybe is a little bit scarier, I think. Like, I feel like trying to pull off a Rek'Sai unless you're playing in a really good team is difficult. But I could see Relech doing a lot of good things on the Lee Sin for sure for this team.
Lee Sin call out as well. Remember, again, 26.10, we will stay in that for playoffs. Even though solo queue right now is going to 26-11. That does also mean, talking about picks, and I've got Jack next to me, Smolder's still very viable. You know, we've still got DFT in the thick of things, and with that black that black cleaver combination.
The black cleaver really fast. I think Smolder is quite good. I also think Seri we could see today, depending on if we go to like game 4-5. I think after the buff she got on 2610, she's pretty good, to be honest. Like, she has the added range now on her sap, and her Q just does like pretty decent damage. And she's like a little bit good throughout the early game, while before it was kind of a black hole in the early game up until you got like that level 6, and you got the scaling with the Lulu.
My question is, will we get a Fizz this weekend?
Oh.
Because we saw it over in the LCK. You told me today we got it in the LPL as well.
We did, but Lysandra was the last pick into it because he thought he was going into Twisted Fate as well. Like Zeka. And then EDG's mid laner got Lysandra.
Which mid in our league do you think would play Fizz though? Caps is the
Caps maybe? Jojo, Humanoids.
You think Jojo would play Fizz?
Do I think Poby or Yehu would play Fizz? No, I don't.
I mean, Yehu's probably the more likely of the two, though, I will say.
Probably. He did play Brand.
He did.
Not to great success, but he did play it.
I mean, they've really been trying to force the Brand. They played it top and mid, and both have kind of run down on it.
See it out, eh? Hasn't been so great so far. And again, there's a lot of fun picks right now as we're sitting in playoffs. Well, I talked about the Smolder. I know Senna might not be as exciting to some people, but Senna's still there with his black cleaver as well. Let's see. We're about to go into pick and ban. We hold on for a little bit. I guess we're just delaying for anticipation.
I don't think that's the reason why we're delaying.
You don't know. Maybe that's just the play.
Yeah, I mean, I feel even after the nerfs, Ashe still very valuable.
Yeah, I mean, Ashe surfing.
It seems that she's not like the first pick anymore in terms of game 1, B1, in contrast to what we had previously on previous patches. Right now, it does seem to me that jungle still very high priority.
I think if you're gonna first pick the Ashe, you'll see like bans leveraged towards it. Like you'll ban away the Jarvan so that you don't need to worry about that. Might take away the Nautilus, so you don't need to worry about that in the bot lane. And if you want to be even safer, you can take out something like the Caitlyn that can contest it with like a Caitlyn Bard that can be really annoying later on. So if we're gonna see an Ashe potential first pick, then I think the bans will be kind of tailored towards allowing that, because that's what we've seen a lot, that teams are kind of setting up for that first pick and the other team ends up banning the Ashe.
Well, we're finally jumping into draft. Varus going to be the first one to remove. Orianna going to be taken off. NAVI, will they choose to remove the Rumble from Kana's hands, or does Mengta have an answer into it? Often we've seen Mengta play a bunch of tanks towards the top side. We have seen a bit of flexibility from him this split, but Sion and Ambessa have been his two main champions, so perhaps NAVI feel comfortable with something like a Sion into Rumble matchup.
Ljudi moji, evo nas nazad. Da li ste spremni da neko leti iz leca? Ja sigurno jesam. Samo mislit ću možda trunku morati da da pojačam. Mislim da je malo bolje. Marence veliki poz. Hello. Ljudi moji, danas sam jako lagan, moram vam priznati. Spreman sam malo da klikćem nakon što se završi lec. Da vidim koliko nisam bio u pravu vezano za KC. Očigledno, mislim ne znam. Jer ja sam u fazonu KC će stompati 3-0. Nema kamere, da upalim kameru. Da bolje da ne kažem ništa, sve je okej. Danas se družimo na radio Shine-a. Što je okej. Završavam, radim opet kardio. Ja pa čekam da mene streamu ovako tijek kad se pao sam sa stolice. Šarko, izvini. Bitno je da se sad čujemo. Mislim, pogotovo u draftu. Fajn mi da čuješ šta kažu, ali istovremeno želim i ja malo da prokomentarišem. Znači, gledajte, ja mislio sam i dalje mislim da ekipa KC-a ima daleko najjači roster u lecu. Ali nisu bili prvi u regularnom splitu. G2 ih je išutirao, blago rečeno. Tako da nisam najsigurniji, nisam najsigurniji šta da mislim, iskreno. Znaš, više ne znam. Ne znam kakva je tu situacija. Tako da ne znam, ne znam šta vam kažem. U fazonu sam s jedne strane KC bi morao stompa 3-0, s druge strane sam u fazonu KC se toko raspa protiv G2-a da će samo biti useless. I baš nemam ono neki... Nemam neku ideju, ne znam. Imaju neki problem u draftu, tako da čekamo samo da se remake-a. Danas, ljudi moji, također jako bitna stvar, nakon što završimo lec. Vidjet ćemo koliko će trajati, ali svakako bit će neka pauzica, pa onda ide Patreon Game. Danas ćemo igrati Arame, pored toga ćemo imati još jednu novu igricu. I također, također ta igra može se igra u 16 ljudi, što je dosta cool i znači da manje više svako od Patreona ko bude htio da igra će imati slot. Vidjet ćemo koliko je fun, meni izgleda dosta zabavna. A opet kažem, puno ljudi može da stane unutra, što je meni uvek drago da možemo svi da igramo, da ne moraju ljudi da se lade. Tako da... Vidjet ćemo na šta će to da liči, ali... Čekamo da fiksaju draft, pa onda polako idemo unutra. Any of the radar, we're asking for everyone in the audience to do the same. No, we're not. Of course not.
My phone is not in flight mode.
It's not either, no. Guys, I am joking. All bands have remained the same. I've been updated there due to those network issues on stage. So, yeah, all the bands remain the same. Remember, Anivia's gone, Oriana's gone, Varus is gone. What else am I missing that was big?
It was Varus, Bard, Cassio, Oriana, Rumble, and Anivia.
Oh, wasn't Nautilus banned?
No.
Ostavljaju iste stvari, sam me zanima. Mislim da će... Da, okej, ostavit će iste stvari. Dobro, interesantno, mislim, nema šta.
The thing is, a lot of teams ban the Nautilus just so they can first pick the Enchanter. But still, if you're first picking Nautilus and the enemy goes like Braum or something, it's not crazy good for the Nautilus. But it's going to be the Ashe first pick. Right. Pretty standard. 22 wins and 6 losses. That is...
It's a hero in LEC with the Seraphine line.
But now you just slam the Jarvan if you're Yike, don't you?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's a Jarvan lock-in air, and then you're looking at either the Nautilus or the Astral if you want to go. You could also go Yunara Lulu. You have a lot of options here for KC bot lane.
We've forgotten as well, like we're still in 2610.
Ne si Jeldane, hello, opet ješ Serafin. Opet ješ se... Dobro, mislim, ne znam. Ja se stvarno nadam da će ovo u nekom trenutku izaći iz mete. Mislim, nije da sam sad neki veliki hejter Serafin, ali kao bilo bi lepo da dođe nešto novo. Karma je uvek stvar ako hoće, ne moraju da rašuju s njom. Možda radiš Serafin takeaway, to je jedna stvar. Breakuješ im kombo u startu, pogotovo što je Kerija skoro imao neki 5-man ulti koji je sam vinogame, vidio sam ga posle. 5 ili 4-man ulti. Tako da mislim da se bušio, možda malo naložio sad na taj klip i u fazonu je braćo, dajte meni Serafin, sad ću da bacim 5-man ulti. Hvala, ja do oca znam ceo draft, sve je cool. E sad, mogu da biraju šta će da rade. Ako odu na Nami ovde, bit će im jako teško da igraju jednom kad Jarvan krene samo da ih kampu jer nemaš dash, ne možeš da ići iz toga. Trash pa pozadi za lampu, mislim da je također previše flip. Karma Nami najverovatnije. Možda Milio, Lulu je decent. Ako to lokaju, mislim da je to decent. Mislim da je to skroz ok. Pobi, kad sam... Ok, da, ovo će lokaju. Ja gledam kad sam rekao Nami, nisam mislio middle je Nami. Ma najgore što mene ne bi čudo da vidim celu seriju. Ja sam bio siguran da je Casey daleko najbolja ekipa u LEC-u. Kada pogledam njihov roster, u fazonu sam vidi, Casey su nabadači, da nema jačih, nema šanse da Casey izgubi od bilo koga. I finale Casey G2 očigledno. Jer G2 playoff forma ih uvek buffuje. Ovo je decent i ovo je decent. Mogu da rade šta god hoće tu, to je fajn. Ali kažem, nakon što je Casey prestopovan od strane G2-a u Aperu... Ne znam, ovdje koji izgubi samo ispada. To je otprilike to što se tiče leca za njih. Ovaj split lec traje još jako malo da znate, imamo još 5 dana leca. I onda smo završili za ovaj ceo split, tako da je to dosta bitan info. Što se tiče leca, znači on se završava 7. već 8. kreće MA Master, koji se prenosi od 8. do 15. Tako da dosta dana ima MA Mastera, veliki pozdrav plavi i dalje ti neću reći koja igrica. I što je najjače od svega mogu i da ti kažem, ali u ovom trenutku truluckam zašto mi je zabavno. Jer poenta je što tu igru što igramo večeras, bukvalno nemaš ni šta tryhardaš, jer više je onako party game je u pitanju. Sad ću da vam polako spojlam sve redom, reći vam i koja igrica. Ali u pitanju je party game i onda to ti je kao da ti kažem da igramo crab game i ti sad uđeš da zagrevaš mehanike u crab game, razumiješ? Kao, možeš se zagrevaš kako hoćeš, ako nemaš sreće izgubit ćeš. To je više da se torluckamo, malo međusobno se družimo. Zašto mislim, po onome što sam video, da možda bude jako fan. Tako da... Mogu bi da vam dam koja igrica da poskidate ovako.
But I don't think this is a problem for Kana, really.
I think NAVI should have been the ones looking for the Gnar.
Yeah.
And I think Azir here makes sense. I think Ryze as well would be fine for KC.
I mean, this is exactly what we talked about, right? You just slam the Azir, you've got Azir, Ezreal, Seraphine, you're engaged...
A nisu trke, jedna od stvari će biti trke unutar igre, da. Evo, daću vam link, pa skidajte polako. Evo mu Patreon chat.
Overall, better champion right now has a lot more move towards the lanes, and I think if you're picking Azir here, the little bit of risk that you're running into for KC is you could have a losing mid, a losing top, and then just get pushed in everywhere. But with the Ryze, you should have an easier time playing with Yike and trying to help him out, and then Cassandra for Mainter, pretty standard across the board.
Imate link. Igra se zove Microworks. I u suštini imate 150 različitih game modova u igrici. Tako da stvarno ima legitimno svega i svačega. I jako fan izgleda igrice, iskreno. Ono što sam video, ja sam baš u fazonu da se možemo ozbiljno zabaviti. Ja sam uzeo, kaže, moje party pass da mogu da hostam. Da je, 8 GB nije igrica, mislim nije igrica, ne zauzima ništa puno. Da je nešto puno, ja bih vam odavno rekao. Ova igrica je minigame. Ali, bukvalno, kako ja to gledam da je samo mnogo bolji crab game. Ima 150 različitih modova.
TF in the side lane.
The concern I had for the Rise was he's relatively short-ranged into Ashe Azir, but if KC successfully play through their side...
Tako da ako pogledate iz Steam page vidite šta sve ima. Ima i karting, ima i košarka, ima i boks, ima i ono gurkanje s platforme iz Crash Basha. Baš ima, mislim ne znam da li ste vidjeli sve modove. Nešto je first person, nešto je third person. Ono, bukvalno napravili su igricu sa 150 različitih modova. Da, pecu ćemo jedan ara, malo se okupimo, ono klasi, mislim jedan best of 5 da se okupimo. I onda posle ulećem, ja ću vidjeti kada budem hostovo. Da, bukvalno me izgleda kao savršena igra za Game Night. Jer prvo što ima 150 različitih igara, što je prezabavno, a drugo što može 16 ljudi da stane i to je baš dobro, iskreno.
They got slaughtered while NAVI are debuting for the first time today in their first best of 5 ever.
Tako da on, izgleda mi bukvalno kao, što kažeš, kao bolji crab game, kao razvijeniji crab game. Crab game gdje se ljudi malo više potrudili da naprave igricu još bolju. Sad vidjet ćemo samo kako rade ti game modovi i to zato što ima 150 igara, pa sad ne znam kako funkcioniše kreiranje u smislu da li ja biram ručno igre ili šta radimo, ali... Vidjet ćemo kako to funkcioniše. Tako da baš jedva čekam. Svi koji nisu dobili tamo od mene stilu mači. Ne, na šta sam razmišljao iskreno? Razmišljao sam još jednu stvar vezano za patrone, možda ne bi bilo loše, recimo, kada držimo Game Night, da ono, ko je tu na streamu i kome deluje fan, da lupam ono, giftam jednog lurkera po Game Nightu. Čisto da malo još ono, i dodamo ljudi i realno ono, ljudi kojima to izgleda cool i koji bi se dosta družili sa nama, možda nije loše, ali to opet trebamo vidjeti. Best of 5 je best of 5, ovo je prvi best of 5 koji NAVI igra kao orga. Ne znam da li ima odbojke, ima košarke, možda ima i odbojke, nisam siguran. Znam, mislim ima košarke, ima boksa, tako da postoji šansa da ima i odbojka. Ali nisam vidio da možemo da biramo igre, tako da mislim da je možda čak i random. Vidjet ćemo. Ali o tom potom, kažem, stvarno, igrica, što se meni tiče, baš izgleda super, izgleda jako zabavno, tako da čekam da je probamo, iskreno. A i super je što, kao, samo ja kupim igricu i svi ostali ulaze free, niko ne mora ništa plaća, a dovoljno je samo da host ima, kao, taj DLC, šta god plaćeni. Što je skroz okej. Ovaj game me zanima šta će Kana uraditi, najiskrenije. Mislim, dobro, mene uvek zanima šta radi Kana, zašto je počeo da čoka u play-offu. Ne znam, Marence, možda to nije To mi se čak i sviđa. Realno ovako ako samo stavimo u chat, ništa nismo radili. U smislu neko možda klema i samo da nikad ne uđe na Discord. Tako da to je... Sviđa mi se to. Ima, savršeno, eto, igrat ćemo odbojku. Igra se zove Microworks. Znači, bukvalno je kao crab game, samo malo bolje. Bar po onome što mogu da vidim. Ima više igara i grafičke, realno, mislim, novi je lepše, nema šta. Čak kaže, imaš drugačijih modova, nije ni sve first person, imaš i third person, imaš i Mario Kart trke, fazo. Relech is aware of the respawn timing, so even though his blue buff was stolen, he gets the respawn of the Croaks and the question mark. There it is from Yike, expecting this play to happen. He's suspicious that Relech might be on his top side, and there are the Croaks gone.
Yeah, good adaptation for Relech to be able to get...
No, to nije loše, Marence, da... Ne znam kako biramo kandidata, ali nađemo nekog, bacimo ga kod nas u Discord, ne vidimo ono je raspoložen za druženje i onda možemo da pododamo. a i realno gledano, recimo ako nas bude, mislim nas obično bude 12 do 14 na game nightu, a ima 16 slotova. Možemo da popunimo sa ljudima sa streama i onda da se dogovorimo mi, između nas, kome od ljudi koji su došli iz chata da giftamo Patreona. Mislim da je to dosta cool. Recimo lupam, ako ima 2 slota, ako ima 2 slota, nek dvojica uđu. I ništa, igramo, zezamo se, blejmo. I onda mi posle odlučimo u DM pošaljamo osobi koja, možda i to okej. A možda, mislim vidjet ćemo, ne znam. Ima tu opcije. Baš sam nekako razmišljao, mislim da je super, jer gledam s jedne strane, dok se ništa ne događa u game, pa mu pričam o tome. S jedne strane kao, jako mi je drag game rate jer mi blejimo, zezamo se, super nam je realno je, koncept je giga dobar, ali sam u isto vreme u fazonu, realno bilo bi cool da bude i zanimljivije još više ljudima koji nisu Patreoni i onda da imaju neki ugao da budu tu, da se druže s nama, da oni imaju mesta da igraju. Kada, naravno, imamo kad mi imamo mesta, naravno. I mislim, opet kažem, to je druga stvar što ja ću se svakako i trebam da se mnogo više držim, naravno, i samog tira, benefita tira i sve to, da šefine imaju garantovane slotove i sve to, pogotovo ako dodamo mnogo više lurkera. Ali tako je trebalo da bude od početka, samo što smo mi takvi pa ljudi dropaju slot za druge ljude, što je okej, ali istovremeno malo ću više morati se držim toga da šefine šefovi imaju prijav. Pa to Marence, mislim što da ne, možda naleti neku cool. Da li mislim da je Ari S-tier mid? Ja mislim da Ari nikad nije bila ništa ispod S-tiera. Desto bi rama. Ja mislim da Ari nikad nije bila ništa ispod ispod S-tiera. Desto bi rama. Evo nam ga jedan kandidat možda za ovu nedelju. Ko zna, to je za ovu subotu. To je za danas.
Big jungle gap in the making here, I'm afraid. I think this is going to be really tough for Navi to try to come back because, as you said, Veri, it wasn't Yike that really...
Kad god Rileč padne behind, inače Navi se apsolutno raspadne. To vam je dobra metrika da li će Navi da bude dobar ili ne. Pogledate Rileča, vidite kakav je odnosu na protivničkog junglera. Rileč ima 25 CS-a manje. Desi, Kevine. Jeste, Marec. Ali, znaš, mislim, hoću da ti kažem, trebamo da se držimo malo više forme, u smislu, ako krećemo da igramo valo, šefine uleću prvi game i onda ako šefina hoće svoj spot da da nekom, on bira kome može da spot. Jer, mislim, gledaj, što se mene tiče, meni je sve da ja sam tu da igramo, da spredamo. I onda, naravno, mislim, ti ćeš uvek dati pre slot nekome ko je tu non stop i ko je tu deo ekipe, nego nekome koji je došao prvi put. To stoji, znači. Tako da, mislim da je to legit. A naravno, neko ko dođe prvi put, pa dovoljno dugo bude, tu isto može postane deo standardne ekipe. Jeste, Kevin, razmišljali smo nešto što je FNC večeras, pa smo razmišljali možda da ga gledamo, ali, fore što, ne znam koliko će trajati LEC i sve to, eventualno uvek može neko ako gleda FNC samo da nam šera pa da stavimo na drugi ekran dok igramo GameNet na jednom monitoru, na drugom gledamo FNC, spredamo se. Jarvan Div, moguće, Warp desi. Uvatio si kaps, upoznam ga Stalno midu. Bio ti teammate? Čekaj, ste dobili game, to je pitanje. Da li je bio zadovoljan tim upoznavanjem ili nije bio zadovoljan? Inače, ne mogu da vam opišem koliko sam ljubomoran na Kanu što možda igra ADTF-a. Teo sam da igram ADTF-a i AD Canona na AD carry poziciji, ali uvijek sam u fazonu kao trebam da odigram najbolje pikove koje mogu da ne bi gubio, a gubim sve jedno. Tako da možda je samo play da... Možda je samo play da to pikam sve jedno jer mi se jako igra. ADTF je samo mnogo cool heroj. Da gađa kartama, radi damage. Jajk baš gapuje Rileč. Baš ga gapuje. Dobar knock-up od Parusa. Ne može da flasha root da bih pogodio Serafin ulti. Ti stompo TF-a stavimo on igro kasije top, ima smisla. To je legitim. Plavi izađi iz igrice, hvala puno. Hvala puno, plavi. Šalim se, nemoj, mislim da ima tutorial. Tutorial si. Ja ću ga završiti posle ovog gema, to je posle leca. Istina to bi ravno, da, slažem se. Inače, jako je cool što TF-ova karta resetuje basic attack timer. Tako da TF card na lock-in je basic attack reset. Samo što zahteva da instant lock-inujete nakon basic attack animacije. Što jako često bude da ste lokovali pogrešno. Sprdam se, plavi, sprdam se. Ja ću vidjeti. Možda ga pričam posle leca, možda ga pređem na streamu, čisto da ljudi vide o čemu se radi u igrici također. Taman ti pređi, plavi, pa reci koliko ti vremenski trebalo. Ne znam da li je dugačak tutorial ili nije.
It's important to recognize that for every advantage that Yike is getting, it is largely driven by the fact that his team is there to support him as well. He's playing around the prio, that who's keeping up in mid, and in this situation, NAVI really wanted to punish Yike. If they get that kill, they can really bring Relech back into this game and close that goal gap that's growing between the two junglers. But they don't quite have the CC that they need. They don't quite have the damage that they need. And KC, they walk away with the blue buff, and the gold lead only continues to grow KC's favor.
Yeah, it was a nice play by Yike, and now he has the Sundered Sky, making him much harder to kill for NAVI. And they can look up to just play for the second dragon. I don't think NAVI can really contest them, despite Poby having the Nashor's Tooth. They're just too far behind in the jungle role. So it's just going to be a free Drake for KC, while NAVI wants to try to punish Kana. We'll see if he...
Tobirama, pričamo o Microworksu. Pričamo o Microworksu i sad baš komentarišemo kako ćemo napravimo jedan jako cool koncept, pošto svake subote igramo Patreon Game Night, gdje, jeli, zajedno s Patreonom igramo svašta nešto. Danas ćemo igrati Microworks između Arama i možda neki Valorant, ono pred spavanje, ono naše klasično. Samo da imamo da će da... Čuj da li će, brate. Što sam krenuo pričam? Da, i onda pošto igramo svake subote, razmišljao sam da krenem svake subote da dijelim po jednog lurker Patreona. Liga šampiona ništa. A realno, brate, bolje da streamujem Ligu šampiona, ne? Šta mislite, koliko bi dugo mogu da streamujem utakmicu Lige šampiona pre nego što dobijem ban s YouTube-a? Moja prognoza je 15 sekundi. To je moja prognoza od prilike. Šalim se, svako ja ne bi gledao. Mislim, iskreno mene futbol haos ne interesuje. Jedina stvar što se futbola tiče što mi je bilo zanimljivo jeste svetski kup. Kad igraju reprezentacije, to mi je zabavno, ali klubove jako dugo ne gledam, iskreno. Kad sam zadnji put uživao da gledam klubove Messi, Ronaldinho, Barcelona era. To je otprilike to. FNC je malo duže. FNC dajem 30 sekundi. FNC dajem 30 sekundi. Pa znate kad sam na Sajnatonu streamovao mislim onaj klip dok jedem, jer obično kad jedem gledam nečiji klip, jer kao što da ne. I bio sam u fazonu, nemam pojma, ja kao gledam neki klip, međutim nakon ne znam koliko vremena dobijem temp ban i kao ne možeš da streamuješ, kao live streamuješ stvari koje koje kao nemaš pravo šta god. I ja moram da ugasim to na OBS-u i da mi pustili stream normalno. To bi rama, pa to je, mislim, kažem, ideja. Zato opet kažem, zato dajem lurker tier, jer svakako lurkeri kao lurkeri u odnosu na šefine nemaju prije u gameovima. Tako da mislim da je okej koncept da malo poraste community i na Discordu, ljudi koji su aktivni. Mislim da je to kao overall win-win situacija, znaš. Jer koncept lurkera jeste upravo to da se upoznaš sa Patreon programom. I onda ako ti se sviđa, želiš da podržiš više sve ostalo, onda prelaziš u Gamer, Phoenix, šta god. Za koga se navija? Za Bosnu. Evo ga Ergo. A bro, ovaj observer nas izbitovo, još ja gledam kao stiže Ergo, rekao 100% je pogodio čim observer prati Ergo. Oni imaju unapred, mislim unapred, znaju malo unapred šta se događa. Jako je cool kako radi observovanje leca. Inače, oni imaju nekoliko observera koji svi observuju isti game. I onda imate master observera koji bira čiji od observerovih feedova mi gledamo na streamu. što je jako cool. I onda uvek ima mali delay. I onda oni faktički, kad je neki veliki play na mapi, dogodi se i onda Master Observer vidi i onda izabere šta će da prenese. Dug tutorial. Daj mi plavi ono 5 minuta, 10 minuta. Clean. Još TF dobija prednost, to je super. Odlična ideja za lurkere. Šarole, hvala ti, brate moj, hvala ti. Pa ono, mislim da kažem win-win, realno. Jer, kao i moja želja je realno da se poveća još više količina ljudi na Patreon delu servera. Jer Patreoni su stvarno aktivni i mnogo mi je drago. I uvek neko nešto igra, evo sad igraju, ne znam što igraju nešto. Samo da imamo što se događa ovdje. Kana igra lepo. Tako da nekako mislim da je win-win iskreno. Ljudi koji a i ima dosta ljudi koji prate stream jednostavno ne mogu da podrže, što je također ok, je to način da dobiju Patreona. Što mislim da je isto ok, a ima puno ljudi koji ni ne znaju šta je Patreon, niti ih puno možda nije ni zanimalo, ali realno ako dobiju lurkera možda provale, možda su u fazonu, to je super i ostaćemo. Zašto uzeo Ksina? Ne znam, imao je što, pa znaš šta je, best of 5 je. Ovo je prvi put da, kako se zove, prvi put da NAVI igra best of 5. Tako da moguće da je zbog toga uzeo Ksina jer je u fazonu, za Hen, Atrox i sve to mi treba kasnije. Možda je samo zbog toga odlučio da igra Ksina prvi game. Koristan i jako gledam stream. Onda ću na streamu odigrati isto. Onda ću na streamu, šta nema veze. Tamo da ljudi koji neće igrati vide o čemu se radi u igri. 7-8 minuta nije strašno, šta. Tamo dok svi popale igricu, dok svi to, to je... Na streamu ću raditi ja tutorial onda. Tako bolje. Ja, Kana. Mislim, kao ne radi puno damage-a, ali opet radi taj damage konstantno. Level 1, level 2 kus, ajde je level 13, ali... RFC... On ima Merks i jako je dugo bio stanovan, što mi je baš čudno. Plavi, završio si tutorial, gasi Microworks. Casey Stompo je za sad, da. Mislim, ja sam ovako mislio će da izgleda... sve osim KCG2 da sam mislio da ide u 5 gameova, ali... Ok, nije imao. Mislim, već je bacio flash, nije mogao flash od od Ksina. Dobro, NAVI dobio prvi kill. Prvi kill ove serije. Ali su izgubili... gube 6,5 Soma Gold i gube 3 Drake-a, tako da ne znam koliko je ovo utešna nagrada za NAVI. Game, aha, dobro, pa i sve ok. Ne, lagan. Rise kad dobije Actualizer, to će biti to će biti njegov veliki spike. Samo je pitanje da li će potrati partija toliko dugo pod jedan... Dobro, ovo je okej. Ovo je int Kane, mislim int. Ne sme Xante da te pogodi sa max range Q kad ima treće, vidiš, brate, čuješ zvuk, vidiš vjetar, vrti se oko njega, razumete, To baš ne sme se dogodi kad igraš range heroja. Nezgodno je malo, ali tako radi.
Still a 6,000 gold lead, and now 3 dragons for KC. It definitely does. I mean, it's the Chemtech soul, so it's not like game ending.
Nije loš soul. Nije loš soul. Pobi na skill mi lipe. Fair. Ama ne... Nemam pojma. Fore što stvarno NAVI je legitimno Rilećem friends. Znači baš je... Rileć je mnogo nosio ekipu NAVI-a. I problem je što koliko to radilo u best of 1, čak i best of 3 regularnom dijelu, mislim da u play-offu jednostavno jedan igrač koji stompuje i nosi je samo jako je mala šansa će dogoditi tako nešto, ma koliko ti je neko dobar.
Has now 2 items on the Azir. Yeah. So there is a world where they come 5v5, rock up to the soul fight, and NAVI just outplay them in the team fight. But it's really the onus is on KC to kind of not allow them to ever even enter to get a normal 5v5. If they're just pushing in the side lanes, abusing the fact that they can always realm warp on you, TF ult on you, to not actually ever allow you to have a safe path of entry, that's when I think the game is really, really hard for Navi to have any sort of comeback.
You know, if Yeti wasn't recalling there, they spotted Relech on bot. There's a world where they could have round warped into Baron and just taken...
Ne, Šarule, to je legitimno skroz.
If nothing else, they would have gotten double TP.
Tobirama, ništa veliko za sad. Nasumično, to je super, to je okej, to je fair. Mislim, fair u smislu kao okej. Ode Lulu možda, ne! Ne! Ajoj, KC, ajoj, ljudi, haha, ne. Ne. Bro, ako KC izgubi ovaj game, znači ja ne mogu, stvarno. A čekaj, Plavi, jer svako za sebe igra. Mislim, kapiram futbol, košarka, možda random se dodeljuju ekipe. Vidio sam neke stvari koje svako za sebe bude.
Which means that he has to play a lot more scared if he wants to go for an engage like that again.
So we look back at the play, and it's a hard engage from KC. They think that it's 4 versus 3, easy collapse, but that 4 is initially 2. The Seraphine and the Ezra are not quite in range with Mainta right
Ne znam što radi KC.
He has the TP, he uses it to great effect. KC's bot lane is forced to disengage, and that does leave both Yike and Kana isolated to allow for Navi to find a turnaround play.
You're completely right, Vetty. And I think you also see there that they were probably a bit surprised by Poby, because Poby has had a really good game thus far, and he did so much damage to Kana there. Pretty much just one-shot him alongside Relech. And I do think that if there is a player to really carry in this soul fight in 1 minute, it's gonna have to be Poby. 2.5 items now, 260 CS.
Svako za sebe, nice, dobro. Znači niko ne može da kaže da moj tim loš. A timske igre su kapiran kao u crab game-u, gde random podalju 2 ekipe i GL in esports. Ne znam, ja se nadam da ti se Plavi čini dobra igrica. Ja ono što sam video meni isto izgleda kao baš da je stvorena za Patreon Game Night, bukvalno. Ima i nekih boss modova, mislim da te boss modove ne znam da možemo da igramo mi, jer mislim da to mora svako da ima paid verziju. Što mislim da nije nužno vredno, jer kao 5 verzije, mislim nije puno, ali opet nije ni malo, kao 10 evra. Ali opet nas 16 da to je 150 evra da dropamo za... Ne, nije mi to. Goals izlazi 4. 4. izlazi Goals, tako da što se toga tiče... Što se toga tiče, za Goals čekamo, izlazi 4. Sljedeći, onaj tamo Patreon game neće biti ovaj...
Just a Chemtech Drake for Navi. It doesn't really change anything in the fights to come.
Yeah, I mean, KC did the right thing.
Tako da Goals kad izađe, klikćemo. To je sljedeća subota, 4. izlazi. Ako se ne varam, mislim da je četvrtak, petak, tako nešto. Family share-ovanje, pa da, ne znam da li baš 16 ljudi može da uleti na family share. Možda i može, ne znam, to nikad nisam koristio.
Into the topside river, which they're going to garner, but what's the cost of that? Well, look at the bot wave once again being pushed in by KC. They're now grouping up, they're fishing for a pick themselves. Keep your eyes on the minimap and keep your eyes on what Kana is doing, because if there's a side lane, he's going to be in it.
KC have the inside track to mid for now, at least they did. They're cutting off the vision supply and any kind of movement from NAVI.
To je GG za brata, to bi ramo. GG za brata, to bi ramo. Da, 16 je. Lagano. Gle, tražio sam, brate, besplatna igrica na Steamu koja može da se igra sa puno ljudi. Jer uvek je fora s Patreon Game-etom kad igramo tipa LOL, ili tako nešto bude nas fazon preko 10. I mi trebalo nešto da može malo više od 10 ljudi da stane. Jer mnogo bi rađe da bude, ne znam, 12 Patreona i da uzemo 4 čoveka sa streama, nego da bude 10 Patreona i 2 Patreona se lade. Znaš, uvek mi je draže kad svi možemo da igramo, da niko ne čeka. A ovu igru sam video ranije, Microbox sam video ranije. Izgledalo mi jako fun. I tamo rekao, ajde malo pogledam u čemu se radi. Kad sam video, bio sam u fazonu, baš bombona igra. Baš kao da je stvorena za ovo. Tako da jedva čekam, iskreno. Će bude baš zabavno. Ali da, vidit ćemo večeras valjali. KC, stvarno bi bilo lepo da pobedite, braćo. Mislim, ovaj jedan fight koji su... Vidiš ti imamo. 1-1-3, that's it's called 1-3-1. Jako lep Ergo. Pobisa polako, dok montira vojnike, dok ovo, dok ono. Kana, imaš summoner, flash, igraš u Ash. Nemoj da si trash ili tako nešto. Igrica je 8 GB, 8 GB, nije... Možda customizaš. Mislim da moraš da platiš DLC za to, ali mislim ko... To nije... Nije nešto game changing. Gdje ću staviti šešir da znate ko sam, pa da me targetujete. Mislim, Kana mora da... A mora flasha to. Ako igraš u Ash, mislim, ne postoji... Ne postoji ugod da te pogađaš i ti si u fazonu kao... Nisam očekivao Ergo.
Well, you're talking, just highlighting some items that have been built. Obviously, Actualize has been there for a bit, I believe, on Yahoo, but...
Somebody just got Infinity Edge. Yeah, that's... All for that pick, so that was the big one. Sorry, I didn't look at it.
Dobro, znaš šta je, mislim... Fora s TF-om je da zbog njegove pasivne on će uvek imati gold lead. I onda što više... Zogu u ovome, bre, u obaveštenjima ti upad na Discord. Je Microwork se zove. Imaš link na Discordu, samo klikni na link i to je to.
Even though it's a 6,000 gold lead, if it goes to a normal 5v5, it's really anyone's game, depending on how the execution goes. Because if Navi get a good arrow, they get a good shuffle, or if Mainter can get some good CC as well, I think they can easily win a 5v5.
Samo klikneš na lagani link i GG.
It's really about KC trying to avoid that 5v5. They're continuing to play this 1-3-1 and wanting to try to pressure them before the Drake spawns so that there is no fight to be had.
Ardent Sensor just picked up as well. Massive item for the value of Navi's duo attack speed carries. Baron's still the focus, but Dragon's up in 20 seconds. How much do Navi care about giving over this soul as they group up as a 4-stack mid for now? Note that Poby's topside trying to back away. He'll successfully do so to react to the bot wave being pushed in by Yahoo. That also gives them a bit of...
Nekad kreće Liga šampiona, ali da. Realno šibliš to da ne. Kapiram. Ja se nadam da će to brzo se reši. Ništa neću da kažem za Pobija.
Because everyone from KC are following him behind. Yike as well with the chase up onto Paris, and he's just used the wild growth, so he's got nowhere to go, nothing to do. He's going to die, and Navi's chance at a 5v5 got absolutely ruined with Poby getting caught.
And KC, they found the pick. They used the Rise and TF to pick off Poby, and with that, they're going to look to end the game. It's only Mainter up against...
Dora, mislim, ovaj game je, da se razumemo, bio... KC-ev od početka. Fall ga izrimovan na način. Dor, mislim, mimo što su zamalo bacili game, I guess da je očekivano kako se ovo odigralo.
a couple members on the bot side, but overall a very clean game. Successful punish of Relech's early pathing led to a dominant Game 1 victory.
We'll see what happens in Game 2 as we go to a short break.
Ništa, ako Tobirama dobije Patrona večeras, kad se bude gledao fudbal u jednu sobu, mora da budu jedni navijači, u drugoj druga. Znaš, isto da nemamo nereda unutar Patreon Discorda. Mislim da je to jedina stvar koja ima smisla. To je jedina stvar koja ima smisla. Kad počinjemo što finale? Šta je u 6 ili?
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
What is this, brother? Perfection.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express in game without ISP throttling.
To mi je čudno nešto što vidim Plavi govori kao gledam finale s druge strane. Rekao, ramišljam, brate, čudi me da počinje u 6, to mi je malo rano. To je vratno zbog FNC-a. To je 100%. Vide počinje FNC još malo, pa kao ajde. Inače, ali ima neko da će gledati FNC, ljudi? Mislim, ako će biti neko da gleda FNC, ja, mislim, očigledno ne mogu gledam, ali bilo bi mi cool ako neko gleda da mi bar prenosi rezultate. To je bilo cool. Ja se nadam da će bar poslije biti neki highlighta da pogledam. Što je najjače, ne verujem da će borbe biti nešto insane. Jel ima neko da neće? Nemam pojma, brate, otkud znam. Ali ono, ako neko bude i na lecu, brate, na drugom monitoru šta god, ono, javljajte kako ide FNC, baš me zanima iskreno. Gledao sam Vayne, presmešno mi je bilo onaj brat. Inače smo na pauzi, ali sam za kompom svakako, pa ono, što da ne českamo ako ništa. Onaj brat što je došao sa 17 kila viška. A lik izgleda ko da je... Znači, meni presmešno, ko da ga toliko bole uvo. Znači, ja to u životu nisam video, brate. Znači, ne znam da li sam ikad u životu više video da lik izgleda ko da ga bole uvo, nego brat koji se pojavio sa 17... Ali bukvalno sa 17 kila viška. Da, baš je nerealno, mislim, vidi. Gledajte, ja razumem ono... Aj, mislim, čak ne razumem ni 200-300 grama, jer se to jako lako skida. Znaš kao, ti skineš, brate, 100 grama... za 30 sekundi. A, brate, 17 kila, znači, ne moš mi kažeš... I mislim, on je pričao nešto, čuo sam baš na ovome konferencije štampo kao... Imao sam kao dugačak let, layover, brate, mili... Ne može toliko dugačak da bude da se ugojiš 17 kila. Znači, ja stvarno ne razumem kako je moguće, brate, mislim... Nemojte pogrešno me shvatiti, ja ono, full respect za borce, sve to stoji. A, brate, mili, da felaš 17 kila. Znači, uzmite, probajte se ugojite 17 kila za 2 nedelje, 3 nedelje. Jako je teško. Znači, uđe ko što hoće. Ono, i metabolizam i sve, a brate, se ugojiš 17 kila. Znači, to nije kilo, 2, 3 tamo vamo da je otišlo pa da kažeš kao ajde nekako. Bro, ti trebaš aktivno da se trudiš da se ugojiš 17 kila. Znači, baš moraš ono da ga Netflixuješ jako. Znaš kao, bio je dobar airplane food, bro, what do you mean, ono. Kapiram i 16 layovera i ne znam nija šta, ali čoveče, bre, 17 kila su ugojiti. Isto tako s druge strane, mislim, on čak i da je malo probao, ja sad ne znam na kojoj se on kilaži generalno bori, ali, mislim, ne znam, se on bori 70 kila ispod svoje kategorije, pa je kao bio je kao, imao je 180 kila, a za fight je iskatovo pa mu je ostalo još 17 kila. Mislim, ne znam, nemam pojma, stvarno ne znam. Baš mi je fascinantno. I kao, znaš, kao, pa skinuo je 5 kila. Brate, na 100, koliko ima? 130 kila. 5 kila vode skineš opet za jako malo. Da, ali mislim, ja ne znam, gledajte, ja opet kažem, ne razumijem se toliko, brate, u kategoriji UFC-u, ali, mislim, jel ima neka kategorija koja je 140 kila plus, tu bi imao 2,5, mislim da ima 2,5 borca, ali, kao ko se bre bori na toliko kila, čoveče, ja se umorim gledajući njega kako stoji. Lupa će ga stoći. A mislim, kapiram da hoće, da, ali opet mi je ono... Znaš, baš mi je, brate, mili... Baš mi nerealno zvuči, kao felosi za... Za jako mnogo kila. Mislim, ako ništa gleda, dobar je ono kao freak show fight, jer koliko sam skapirao, taj lik ima ono šta... Jednu pobedu u UFC-u, tako nešto. Ako se ne varam, nemam pojma, nisam... Ali čuo sam da nije nešto ono... Da ne postoje neka ogromna očekivanja vezano za njega i kako će se bije. Tako da on bi svako dobio batine, ako će dobiti batine, bolje dobije batine sa 15 kila više. Jer zvuči interesantnije za program. Za show. Kao vidi na lupu je lika koji je 2 glave veći od njega i teži je 15 kila. Tako da s te strane je bar da kažeš interesantno. Interesantnije. Ali ne znam, interesantno. I onaj brat isto iz Bosne, kažem opet, ne gledam previše, ne znam ih mnogo, ali onaj brat iz Bosne, brat je toliko prepucan, s toliko hemije, znači čovjek izgleda kao bodybuilder. To mi je baš isto insane, brate. Znači, brat moj izgleda legitimno ko da je izašao na bodybuilding stage, a ne da se bije. Baš me zanima kako će onda performa.
The signs were there. The signs were there. There was like some silent plays. NAVI actually fought back. They caught Kana. He yellow carded a few too many minions. But in the end, they kind of finished the game cleanly. And I love the breakdown from Odo. And I think the only thing that I agree with as well is that the fact that he hit on the fact that they have push in both solo laners, I think is so important because Jack had so much information constantly and so much freedom because you had the TF pushing into Casante. You had Rise into Azir who's also permanently pushing. Yike was really set up for success this game and he made so much out of it.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, credit to KC, there were still some hiccups. Hiccups I don't think we would have seen if the game was a bit closer. They just had such a big goal lead that they were allowed to make those missteps. But the biggest thing was those lanes, and especially top lane. We talked about it. Like, this blind pick Casante was awful. And you're setting up Kana for the champion that he played last week that I think looked the best in his hands. He played alongside Nefiri last week. This week, of course, it's with Yike on the Jarvan. And it feels like for the first time, we get to see the individual advantages KC talked about building. And yes, not only were they playing better individually as players, but the matchups just set them up for so much success. And NAVI had...
Da, vidit ćemo. Ništa, ajde ja sam brbe dok neka ne sljedeći game. Brzo ću se vratim.
I mean, I'm quite happy. Like, finally, if a player ever wants to blind pick Asante top again, you can show them this game. Like, I think Casante blind has fallen out of favor in the meta just because of things like this. The range top laners just shut him down and make his life a breathing hell. But NAVI came into this game and we expected a little bit more, I would say. But they haven't been playing for 27 days. Let's be real, okay? So Some early game hiccups were expected, and I think they kind of got a little bit more comfortable as the game dragged on. They were looking for side lane plays. They're playing around the rash hours better. So I want to see if they can kind of come into game 2 with a little bit more confidence, because this really felt like a really weak start for them.
I mean, that's the thing. We've talked about NAVI and we've talked about the demons that they're trying to overcome, being reledge, being in the driver's seat all the time and bringing more diversity in their gameplay. But haven't been playing for such a long time, plus the fact that it's their first best of 5 as a team, do you want to just go back to basics, actually, and not try and innovate so much? What we want to see from them moving forward?
I mean, it's tough, right? I think that there is like no perfect answer for NAVI. That's why they're not favored in this series, right? There is no one-shot guaranteed solution. There is no silver bullet. I'm curious what they will try. I think we saw some pretty safe, I would say standard, but outdated drafting in the previous one with an option like Cassante. I would like to see a little bit more spice. I would like to see Relech set up for success, but Relech was kind of his own undoing in the previous game. So do you want to double down as NAVI? I still think it's the right call, but I'm curious if they'll commit.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with Laura. Like, we want to see Relech in the driving seat. This game, he was definitely in the passenger seat, feet up, you know, outside the window, just chilling. So, I mean, I feel like it starts with Relech being in a good position. And as you highlighted, Dracos, we did not see that game 1. And I really want to... and it needs to come from him. Because as you say, this game, he kind of decided to go bot level 3 and flip the game, and he kind of paid the price for it deeply. So maybe it's like, I don't love him on the Xin Shao. I think it's not his best champion. I feel like he really stands out more when he's playing these skirmish heavy, they're like team fight bruisers that can really take over fights.
Listen, he said it himself multiple times in interview. He is the main guy for the team, and that's what we want to see from him. Let's see if he's put in this position in game 2. Casters, over to you guys.
Was definitely not main character vibes in game number 1. A pretty much clean game from KC. I mean, until there were a couple of good picks from NAVI. Shout out to Sam D, I think, on the arrows, and NAVI kind of bringing it together. But the gold lead was still massive, and KC got to walk away with it. We go into game 2, myself, Jack, and Vetti, to find out if the draft changes at all. Because it's not like we were like, oh, that KC draft, NAVI draft was so bad. Like, it had its merits. It was very straightforward. Maybe it's just about changing it up for the dynamic of how they get through this early game, if it's going to be like that.
I mean, I do think now, though, with NAVI on... actually, wait. Are they
NAVI's red side first pick?
Oh, my God. This still throws me off, you know? Like, I was going to say now that they have last pick, but they don't have last pick. But I really think it's all about the solo laners for NAVI, because we saw in that last game, I think if Yehu and Kana just have winning, pushing lanes, then we're not going to see Relech magic, because you really need to have winning lanes if you're going to look for invades, if you're going to look for a lot of proactive ganks, especially if you're playing against a team like KC, and they're going to ward, you know? Like, he tried to go for the early cheese gank, but KC, they knew he could do it, so they already had it warded and lost him the game.
Cassio's open.
Yep.
Okay. I thought that they would consider a Caitlyn, but then I remembered that Cassio was open. So they are going to insta-lock it. Now, we've seen Cassio flex between top and mid. I would be surprised if Mengda played it top lane. I also have a take on Anivia, which is that I just think top lane Anivia isn't good. I'm going to say it. I just don't think it is.
I mean, I think in this game, you're just always going to put the Anivia into the Cassio.
Yeah,
would be my vibe. And then you can, since KC is having the last pick, they can see where the Cassio goes. And you end up picking the Vi as well. I mean, it has some synergy with the Anivia, but I would say that the Cassio, if she can scale up and get pretty tanky this game, then she feels pretty comfortable into the Vi later on. Ooh, but they're going to go for the Lucian here. I think Lucian into Vi has always been a bit tricky because you have a lot of mobility, and the Millia also has very little value into the Vi.
Yeah.
So they really need to stomp this bot lane, I feel like, if they're going to get a lot of value out of this Lucian Millia.
Okay, quick question for you, Jack, because you are an AD carry main. Do you know the range of Lucian?
It is 500.
525?
525, really?
No, it's 500, I think.
Okay, well, that's beside the point. You do emphasize exactly what I want, which is that, like, I don't know Cassio's range off the top of my head, but that's a short-range comp.
That's a very short-range comp.
Caitlyn.
That's for sure, yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like that's my issue with picking the Lucian, is that you've basically chosen it voluntarily.
Evo me nazad, tamo na vrijeme. Ima Kevine, bit će boksa ako ništa, tako da...
I feel like there's so much zone control that she can provide, and when you pair that alongside a Caitlyn,
Yajkira bye.
It's just zone control city.
Yeah, I much prefer Casey's draft thus far. We'll have to see what they can match up
Jajk igra vaj, možda jedna jedina šansa da jedna jedina šansa za Navi da urade bilo šta.
NAVI will probably look to ban out the Karma last if I were to have a guess. But you can still pair it up with something like the Lux.
Or maybe they go... I mean, again, I know we've been talking about this Casio versus Anivia probably being mid head-to-head. Maybe it's a ban again. Maybe they're worried. I mean, but again, Mainta probably did that because of the Casante in game number 1. But is it going to be tank role-playing again for him? We talk so much about the importance of having priority in lanes, especially in this series. When it does feel like they're already getting outranged, I think lanes become that much more important, that they don't just survive, but they thrive. Is Mainta going to go on a tank again with Sion up and available? Nah has been banned, so I'll leave it up to the
I feel like it's Sion, bro.
Yeah, I mean,
that's the vibe I'm getting.
They're sticking to the same bans from game number 1, but I feel like now, with the fact that you didn't target bot lane whatsoever, Busio, he decides to go for the Nico over the Karma, but it's just so easy to have a good matchup into this Lucian Milio, and I really think I would have preferred for them to try to set their bot lane up for success when they picked the Lucian Milio this early. Yep. But Lee Sin for Reledge could be very exciting, but I don't think he will pick it because he has no CC to set up this Lee Sin.
I mean, he's flexing between the Rek'Sai and the Lee Sin right now. I'd be excited for both. We're putting Reledge in the driver's seat for this game. There's that Sion that we predicted.
Yeah.
Not surprising, really, for Mainta. Navi's drafting very much a front-to-back comp. I am very concerned with Navi's ability to actually close the gap against KC.
Yeah.
Right now, they've got no hard CC.
Yeah, I think you need to pick a jungler with CC. I'm thinking something like
Skarner. Is it time for the inspired Ornn jungle? Is that
I think it's Skarner that you lock in here. That's the only pick I can really... Trundle?
But now in top, I mean, does Kana have to go at tank? No. Right?
No, he can
go whatever he wants. He can have fun with it.
He could put the Anivia top if he wants to.
True.
And they could play something else in mid. I don't know what else you could really... You could play Victor mid probably into Casio. That's fine.
Koliko sam kill? Sad sam na oko 80-81. Tu negde sam sad. Zašto je najjače ovih dana sam uvećao dosta unos, mislim dosta. Povećao sam unos kalorija, ali sam zato mnogo povećao kardio. Sad hodam, brate, 25.000 koraka dnevno, bukvalno. Či baš ga lomim. I jako sam zadovoljan sa rezultatima, jedina stvar je što je tempo koji nije nužno izdrživ. Jer preći svaki dan po tipa 25k je malo heavy. Sad dok radim lec i sve to mi je mnogo lakše, jer kao okej, za kompom sam svejedno, tu sam, radim lec, šta god. Ali očigledno nije nešto je haos izdržljivo jer mi treba dosta vremenski dalje da pređem, pošto ne radim sprintove, trčanje, već samo hodam. A preći 25k hodanjem je vremenski intenzivno. Osim ako nemam, kažem, slobodan dan ili radim, pa mogu da hodam dok radim je baš heavy. Ali definitivno najbolji rezultati do sad, jer ono... Dobijam dosta više lean mase nego na bilo čemu drugom što sam radio do sad.
It's just
in the sense that every matchup is a skill matchup?
Skill will be expressed, and Navi's going to need to level up their skills in order to thwart this draft that KC have presented us. It's not looking great, but we'll see. Like, because you know what, Jack? As casters, we've been wrong many times before. In fact, I've made a career out of it.
Yeah.
So we will see. Maybe Navi will prove us all wrong. And show that there is something in their draft that we don't see just yet.
Let's hope, because again, I will say, if we talked a lot about AD carries, but in terms of support matchup, Nico in 2v2s has so much strength that her alone usually can dictate not only just
also,
the level 2,
let's talk about the intangibles.
Intangibles, okay.
Yike on Vi.
That's true.
Ne znam što će da liči iskreno Lucianu Kate, iskreno.
Could we lock the camera on bot? I think this game is totally decided by bot lane, because bot lane, you can see it, it's so volatile. They are going to be trading non-stop, and Caitlyn and Nico, I mean, already have gotten a huge 8p advantage, and this feels really bad for the Lucian Emilio, because level 1 is the one time where you can see how they want to trade. You want to do the Lucian W with the Emilio E and try to trade on it, but Relich is dancing in the bush, looking for the invade.
Wants to steal, going Yike. Here we go, get revenge for last game. Reset of patience, no, not yet. There's the smite. And that's a good start for Relich. Sneaky invade here from the NAVI jungler.
Is it a good start?
Yeah, I was gonna say, like...
It looked like it, why wasn't it?
Because he takes so much time to get one camp, and now he's going for his bot side, actually.
I mean, I love that he's using the push that Poby has to just do stuff in the enemy jungle. Trundle is a great duelist in the early laning phase. Sorry, the laning phase. Just early levels in general.
Oh
thanks
my
to his
god,
Q.
it's still level 1 on bot. This is so unplayable.
Jackie experiencing secondhand trauma right now.
I've played this matchup before, yeah. This is tough. I mean, it's 5 CS on Samdi. He's gonna try to pick up some of these under tower. And now Kalis has to be a little bit worried. So, I mean, the nice thing about Relich's pathing is that he kind of like, you know, threw a curveball in there. And now, since he went to bot side, he can kind of protect his bot lane.
Yep.
Yike choosing to skip the red buff here. Wants to just pressure a dive, maybe? Or wants to look for an invade on the blue buff?
He's going to go for the invade boost. Just going to help out as well. With that prio, it means that they can do anything here in the jungle. Blue buff can be started. Relich will now get level 3 as well.
I think
we're quite even.
Relich wins the 1v1 though, I think. So, but I mean, they do have full bot prio, so I suppose they can just steal it.
For both though. That's going to come through from Yike first. There's the Tangle Barbs as well. Relich Pillar saves the life here as Kalis kites it back. 90 caliber net and the Q at the same time. Sandy comes in, very risky, pops the barrier as well. Now Paris might be caught out as Yehu cuts off the path of the escape.
Mislim, hoće prave play oko bota. Jer ako imaš Caitlyn, obično želiš da igraš na toj strani.
Okay, I mean, I like the adaptation from Yike. He realizes, okay, my bot lane has push. I can take advantage of this. He skips the red. That's the most important thing, because killing your red doesn't really matter that much, because obviously it's great to get the cooldown already going, but the rest of your camps are really what you want to be cycling. Right now, the fight is over that top crab, but I don't think Yike is in a position to contest this.
Paris is here, while Busio decided to stay for the bot wave.
I'm not sure if Q was charged up, but regardless, Smite comes down through from Relich first, so Yike gets zoned out. While meanwhile, we go back to the top lane. It's just for the plating here that Kana is just going to do a bit of damage and snap back to the Soul Unbound. But he is doing pretty nicely up here. He's going to get the TP forced out of Mainta. And level 6 inbound.
The thing now is that Caitlyn got the pickaxe, while Lucian got the longsword. So now it's a 15 AD deficit in the bot lane matchup. And we already saw that was pretty hard.
Uvek je tu, Kate sam uvek stompa, to je fora.
Harder for them to ever actually win trades. And I'm kind of surprised by how much action there's been in the jungle department, but I think Relich kind of knows that he needs to introduce some volatility of his own, because if Yike could just full clear the bot, and his bot is getting pushed in the whole time, it's going to be really, really hard for him to play. So that's kind of the mindset that Relich has in this game, but so far, it hasn't actually resulted in any sort of lead for Navi. As Sandy dashes in.
The caliber net is nice, but stepping on a trap, this is perfect. CC chain, Sandy's dead! Oh
clean, baš clean.
That was clean.
It was so clean from Kalist. Uses the 90 caliber net to proc his passive. He then gets trapped into root into trap again, or was it root into trap?
It was root into trap, and I want to ask you, Veri, was there a lot of skill expression Lucian could do there after he dashed in?
Skill matchup.
Zato sam rekao da apsolutno nije skill matchup. Zašto? Nemaš ti u Caitlyn toliko skill matchupa, iskreno. Ako te Caitlyn outrangeuje, a nemaš hard engage, klikneš dugme da forsiraš fight, nije skill matchup, okej. Mislim, kad kažem nije skill matchup, mislim u smislu da baš nemaš šta možda radiš u tom matchupu, bukvalno. Jer ti nju moraš da outplayaš da bi bili even. A ja to baš ne računam kao skill matchup.
Be sad by the sounds of it. Okay, well, AORUS is still on roulette. Right now he's pinging towards mid lane. Is there even a gank here though? That just might be.
Maybe, yeah, who tried to push out the wave, he does successfully do so. Now trying to kite it out as he flushes over the wall. Relich gets a pillar to block his path. Yeah, who can't go anywhere. Turns in the egg as Yike tries to save the play. Poby hits him over the wall.
Gledajte zašto Casio a Nivio. Jedan od relativno malo. Mislim, radi je Nivio u Casio, ali Casio također možda radi u Niviju zato što možeš da, možda gubiš kad padne u egg formu. A pogotovo u Religijemu dosta midlanera se muči, jer jednom kad eguje Niviju nema damage da je završi. Tipa Sylas lupam. Kao da, oboriš je ti backform, to je super, ali koji je plan posle toga? Ona padne backform, ti nemaš cooldownove da je ubiješ.
They could even look for a bot dive, since Yeti is gonna get level 6 off this dragon.
Crystallize, Flash Frost gets the stun, waiting for the next frost bite. Onto Relech, who's running for his life. This bird is gonna get the help from a two-man sword. Flashed in for the Q. Mortal Steel.
Kana, možda budar malo.
Bot lane is also going to be zoned off of tower from that bot side trade. I mean, it's painful across the board for Navi here.
Možda malo igra.
It's rough. Things could be better.
Is there a butt coming?
No. More so just kind of observing. You know?
Just part of it now. We're just enjoying.
You know how on wildlife shows they say that when you see like predator and prey, you're not allowed to interfere.
Yep.
That's kind of what we're doing right now. We're just observing.
We're letting it play out.
Guys, I'm sorry, Navi fans, we can't interject.
No, we can't do
we're not allowed. Just kind of have to let
it
take its course. And right now, it is KC with a 1.8k gold lead, 8 minutes into the game. An early swap towards the top side to perhaps contest the grubs that are now on the rift. But he's bottom lane on the top side. I think it's going to be difficult for Navi to get the prio needed in order to contest.
Yeah, they do have a slight tempo advantage, so they will be able to push in this wave, but the problem is that Relech is on the bot side, so they can't start the... Oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is happening already.
That's
just with the recurve bow. You think so? Well, I'm starting to think, yeah, because Mainta ulted to the wave, and he gets punished. Kana with a solo kill, and it just keeps getting worse.
Yes, it absolutely
Not
does.
for KC though.
No,
but their story gets better.
It is devastating right now for Navi. The Yone getting a solo kill is just going to accelerate that champion, which is the last thing that you want to have happen. Blade of the Ruin King is such a big spike for him. The call isn't even halfway completed.
He's 3 levels ahead of this jungler. Make it 2. Relech's going to 1v1. Let's see if Subjugation even comes out the pillar out. But where's he going to go? Fate Seal flushed away from it. He snaps back to the Spirit Clip. Subjugation probably comes through, but it won't do much here on the Yone. But now finally Mainta teleports in, Decimating Smash to get some revenge back. It's nice. It's a shutdown over to Poby.
Okay, 2 kills for Poby. 700 gold lead.
Okay.
We saw him... He had some good plays on the Azir last game. Maybe he can try to make some magic happen on this Cassiopeia. That's the one silver lining, bronze lining.
Can he play meanwhile? Ace in the hole. If he got hit by the Q, I would say problem. Maybe he's going to back away. So
it might be problem anyways. If they can cancel him here.
Harris is going to stop his base. He's found out. Now he's got to get a mega fireball kick. It's buffed, cease and desist, tangle buff.
Da, mislim, Lucian Milio je generalno jak matchup, ali kažem, nezgodno je što bez tog Milijovog shielda ti nemaš kako da igraš na... Nemaš kako da igraš to matchupu. Ti ako ne dobiješ bonus range, Caitlyn te samo bocka malo po malo. I onda u nekom trenutku, mislim, samo bliduješ. Bliduješ resurse, bliduješ gold, bliduješ sve. I samo Caitlyn ima BF, ti imaš pickaxe i... Partija manje, mislim, nije manje više gotova, ali da. Osim ako se tim baš debelo ne investira u to da te vrati, da te održi even, čak ne ni vrati nazad. I samo dobijaš batinu u tom matchupu.
But then the question is, does KC even need to bother? Do they really need to fight for the second dragon? Because with the lane dominance that they currently have, they can just continue playing for these towers, playing for these plates, as the Lucian falls further and further behind.
Yeah, I mean, you really need that first item on Poby, I think, because right now, despite the fact that he has a 800 gold lead, he only really has the Swifty boots above Yehu, so in terms of actual fighting prowess, there's not going to be a huge difference there. While Kalist is going to be a lot stronger alongside Busio than Samdi and Paris in pretty much every skirmish, especially with how much they can chunk them down. I mean, Samdi already half HP now with Kalist using that ultimate. And it's just the problem that this Navi draft runs into is that you don't have anything to actually pressure bot. Yeah. Like, Relech goes bot and puts down a pillar, and then they say, and then what? Yeah.
Now Kalist, he can pretty much single-handedly take this tower, but having the support of his team just adds that extra bit of pressure. Samdi, see, so remember we talked about that 500 range during draft?
Yeah.
Da, mislim, ne sam, kažem ja, Navi je samo... I dalje donekle Relech i drugari. što je jako unlucky.
Will at least get XP, that's the good news, but it is a dire situation for Samdi here in the bottom lane.
One thing that we didn't talk about too much that KC did really well was they had Kana level 1 ward the middle bush. And the big reason for that is with this matchup, what Lucian Milio really needs to do is get a great trade level 1 when Caitlyn and Nico are face checking the bushes so that they can actually chunk them out and try to at least contest the wave. Because we've seen now this game what happens if Caitlyn and Nico can just push you in undeterred. And it's a horror for the Lucian. He needs to be able to dash in, trade back.
To je ono što kaže. On može se trade-a, možda...
KC ready to go back in. Pillar stops the Vault Breaker from Yike. Yeah, who puts down the Glacial Storm? You see that Navi, trepidatious and walking towards, but Dragon is down. KC get number 2, and that was Navi's objective. Snuck away by the KC jungler.
The Smite King, Yike is able to find it again, but it's tragic, as you say, Jake, for Navi, because this kind of felt like it could be their comeback play. Kalist was on the bot side. They actually had a little bit of a numbers advantage, but now it's 2 dragons for KC. They're going to get the bot tower on this wave as well. And maybe they can even look for a play if Samdi tries to walk up here. I mean, Yike is behind them.
I mean, yeah, they walked up, now walking back. Kalist got a 90 caliber net. Cease and desist is there, right on top of the Milio. Paris has no chance.
Ali ovo je samo doomed. Ako gubiš od Jajka koji igra Vaj, mislim da je samo doomed. Mislim da je pokazuje da je najmanje konsistentan tom heroju.
It simply goes from bad to worse as Navi's options continue to be limited. They are running out and rapidly. KC Gold just balloons as Kalist secures the first tower of the game. The Yone nearly completing the cull in the top lane as well. He's almost guaranteed to get that Blade of the Ruin King on base, and if you thought the matchup was bad before, Blade is just such a huge swing for the Yone.
Yeah.
It'll be KC just continuing to dominate here. I mean, we're only 14 minutes in.
It's only 6:13, or when did I look at my phone last? 6:17. Like, it's not very late in the night. And, I mean, this is a dominating performance for a team that, after G2, we were concerned how they're going to turn up today. A lot of people were worried.
Slažem se, dragi komentatori. Nakon gejma sa G2 ja sam mislio da je KC samo doomed ovaj split. Bio sam u fazonu, to je to. Međutim, eto, izgleda je samo G2 godlike. Mislim, kao što smo znali, samo baš ne da su toliko godlike, ali ajde.
I think Yehu is the one player thus far that hasn't really shown much, not in a negative sense, but just like, I mean, in the Rise game he had some good roams and played well, but in this game he hasn't really had to do much of anything. Like, just winning on
Brat
his own,
moj.
and bot lane is...
Vidi, ništa pogrešno nisi rekao, vrate. Toliko ti mogu reći. Ništa pogrešno nisi rekao. Mislim, teško igrati u dobru Caitlyn, stvarno jeste. Ovo pitajte moje protivnike. Ali, opet mislim da u competitive game-u treba da... To ne može da bude kao, jao, pikali su Caitlyn, free losovali smo botlane. Imaš Gina, imaš MF, imaš tih heroje. Mislim, kao... Po najgori slučaj Sivir imaš, kad malo bolje razmislim. Isti range kao Lucian, možda igra isti matchup s Milijom, samo u stvari možda je slow pressuraš sa rikošetom i možda držiš counter push. I ne gubiš kulu u 12. minuti. He's on a killing spree yet again here as Kalist in the mid lane gets quite low, but so does Samdi with one shot. Yike was busy getting the Herald in the top lane, while KC's approach here in mid adds some pressure with the TP from Kana to cover bot.
I mean, Kana, yes, he's sad that his mid lane lost his life, but the good news for him is more farm bot lane. He continues to push in top. He gets a plate up there, TP's to bot, catches that wave. The Anivia can now move to top lane to go and catch that wave. And as you mentioned earlier, Yehu, I mean, like, yes, he's a little bit behind, but it really doesn't matter, because as this game continues, his responsibility is not to be the carry. His responsibility is to provide utility to the Caitlyn that just went back to base and picked up an Infinity Edge. We are 16 minutes and 30 seconds into the game, and the Caitlyn has an Infinity Edge.
To je otprilike moje brojke u solo queue. Čisto da znate gdje je Caitlyn otprilike. I Lucian i Assassin's River, on izbrstom sad ne radi ništa. Jer sad je takva situacija da šta god urade, ne mogu da urade ništa u Kate. Trundle ima plated i wing moonplate, malo health od Phage, ali dalje nije dovoljno. Da. Ali kažem stvarno, mislim da Caitlyn, ona jeste jaka i pogotovo u solo ćete vidjeti Caitlyn ko ovo radi, ali bro, u lecu, kao vidiš Caitlyn, ti moraš da imaš neki plan da je zaustaviš da igrate klasičan 2 na 2, mislim. Može tvoj AD carry da kaže ja sam bolji, nije problem, ali... Mislim, ne radi baš tako igrica. Jer ako su oba AD carry-a tu negde u skillu, a jesu, u lecu mislim da nijedan AD carry ne turbo gapuje drugog AD carry-a, Caitlyn će uvek dobiti lane. Osim ako nemaš konkretan plan da igraš u nju. Či to radiš ili preko jungle mid priva, ili radiš preko botlane matchupa koji možeš da igra u to. Uzmi Gina Karma igra 2 na 2. Znaš kako će da radi? Ajde, super.
It's a situation where, as a caster, we're simply waiting for the inevitable, because NAVI need a miracle. That's just the reality of their situation. They need KC to not only egregiously make mistakes, but they also need to find some crazy angles, because normally I would argue like, oh, if Relectra's on, let's say, Ambessa, maybe he could find an ult onto Caitlyn, and then maybe that's a way they could turn this game around. But Yone, he's just 1v3.
Shield onto Relech, under the inner turret. Kalisk comes in with the damage. Relech close to dying. Ace in the hole's already been used, but even so, there were blockers in the way. But inner turret's going to lose its plating regardless. Relech has come back out because wolves are spawning. Luckily, there's no wards here. Otherwise, that guy, he'd be in trouble.
Oh, but if he goes for
Sure, ali mislim da su mislim da su LEC AD carry malo cave, neće da igraju stvari koje nisu AD carry. Da li nisu vežbali u draftu ili nešto drugo, treće, nemam pojma, ali mnogo izbegavaju da igraju sve što nije AD carry dole. Čim se ja očigledno mnogo ne slažem, mislim da AD carry igrač mora da zna da igra i mage'eve. Mislim, takva je meta. Tako da Brand, Nami, Zerat, igraš mage'a na botu je lagana priča. Jinx je fajn u Caitlyn, da, Jinx je u stvari fajn u Caitlyn. Zato kažem, ima stvari. Stvarno ima stvari, znaš, ti imaš Jinx, imaš Aphelios-a, imaš Gina, imaš MF, imaš, znaš, imaš stvari, imaš ti mnogo pikova koje si mogao da pikaš u Caitlyn, da full ne dobiješ batine. E sad, mi možemo da pričamo da li je Jinx dobra, da li Jinx nije dobra u trenutnoj meti, to je druga stvar i da, definitivno jako teško preživjeti, pogotovo Yona itd, ali imaš ti safe lane-ove koji igraju u Caitlyn da ni ne odu 0.70. Ne možeš baš da budeš u fazonu ma lagano, brat, bolji sam, jer nije to baš nije to baš dobar pristup. Pa vidimo i zašto, mislim. Znaš, Caitlyn go vodi 3200 gold do 20 minuta. Ti imaš Ashen Zeal, on ima Infinity Hex Optics i RFC kad se vrati u bazu. Kako ti to igraš? On nego konektuje neta tebe, dok se dešaš u njega. Net QBS i kulti, ti si mrtav. Možda, ne znam, moliš se da će Sion da bude okej, da može da tenkuje dovoljno pa da ti kupi vreme i da će Kid izniti u poziciji.
I mean, I felt like in game 1, you gotta be really careful here.
AORUS dead, maybe. Yike just running at him menacingly with ulti up.
So right now, KC simply clearing out all of the vision, and observers, if you could highlight that. Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, observer.
As you can see, NAVI don't see anything. So Baron can be started at any point. Right now, they can feel relatively safe that it's not because the Caitlyn is clearing out the mid wave. But there's always that possibility, and so Relech has to move into the fog of war to clear out what vision he can. He's incredibly paranoid, but then what you do is you reset, you replenish your wards, which is exactly what Busio has just done. Picked up another control, restocked his wards, and while NAVI now look to clear out their own side of the jungle, you've already got control, so you don't need to reinvest your vision. All you need to do is come back onto the map and start clearing out all the vision that NAVI has just put down for themselves. So it puts you in a very commanding position. It really suffocates NAVI out from the map. And while they've just used all their vision topside, guess what? Dragon's spawning in 35 seconds. So guess who definitely doesn't have any vision around the dragon? It's NAVI, and KC will immediately turn their attention towards that soul.
I think the only play NAVI could have is... actually, maybe they don't have anything. They're just getting pushed so deep in mid. I was gonna say they need to try to pressure Nash themselves before Soul spawns. Because they have a lot of damage with the Casio and the Lucian Milio.
But they can't contest the mid wave.
They can't even get to the Nash in time. I mean...
They have to commit 5 people mid in order to contest the wave. KC are responding with 5 of their own.
Illa on bird. 5 mid, as you said. The angle from Yike. That's a free cease and desist. And over the wall, Lee Sandee's doing some damage. Yike might be caught out. He goes away, but the culling tags him on the heels. Canon jumps in, trying. NAVI are doing better than you'd expect. 8,000 gold down as KC don't really get a clean fight.
They don't, but KC do still have position over the dragon. Yike is healing up by doing his own camps right now. KC will get the push on the wave. They'll force NAVI back. Mengta quickly going back to base to replenish his HP, but he's now back out onto the map. The problem is NAVI have conceded so much, and again, this dragon becomes an impossible objective to approach. The only option NAVI now really have is to try and cross-map by threatening the Baron, but because they've just recalled, it's too difficult. So that's going to be Soul secured by KC. It looked like a close fight, but in reality, KC got exactly what they wanted.
Hextech Soul on Anivia, Caitlyn, Nico. Yeah, this is really starting to look like the nightmare solo queue.
What do you mean starting to?
Okay, well, it's always been, I guess. But now it's like really setting in, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like, this is where you want to FF, and then your team is like, no, let's...
No, we're going to play it
honest,
out.
Jack, how many times, if you're this Lucian Melio, have you pressed the FF button? Be honest.
I mean, in a competitive game, I would never forfeit.
Yeah. But we were talking about
But
solo
in a
queue.
solo queue game, probably I would say it's lost. But I always have the mentality of, if you've already played 25 minutes, then you might as well see what happens.
Oh,
like,
he's
Kana might
ulted
int
up.
it.
Yeah, maybe he gets turret as well. I mean, or at least try get some plating.
Where's
No,
he
he's going to
going?
run into base. He's wasting time while Baron's going down.
Yeah, okay.
Mengta also ulti. Teleport was also burned for this. Kana versus the world. I mean, look, he does good damage, but he's not going to be able to get through that much of NAVI. Baron is going to go down in the meantime, while the chase led near the next.
Okay, well, I mean, NAVI get a pick. I think it's overall worth it for KC, though, as they walk away with the Baron. KC, Soul, Baron, with the range that they have, they can begin their siege. Kana has TP. He is 30 seconds away on the death timer, but yeah, 1-4. They could even play 1-3-1 if they... I wouldn't recommend it. They should play 1-4.
Yeah. They can just play 2 lanes and siege it down. But this is where, like, so I would never FF in this exact situation. Because I have the opinion of, like, either you FF at 15, or if you, like, at this point, either you're going to lose in the next 2 minutes, or you're going to have a comeback. So then you might as well see.
Okay, sure. Fair. I like that logic.
Because now if KC doesn't end with the Nash and the Soul, probably something has gone really wrong.
Right,
Oh,
exactly.
yes. No, if they don't do that, then NAVI have a chance, which is great.
Teško.
And also,
Jako, jako teško.
in game number 1 where it wasn't clean tidings to end the game.
Bobby.
Our concern. Vault breaker in. Paris decides to face check. He did this on Lulu, but Yike does flash away. KC. Maybe they're doing it again. Culling with a vault breaker.
Ne, Jajk je, mislim, Jajk je poznat po tome da troa gameove, ali...
Kana makes his entrance. Ace in the hole. Mengta is dead. Yike is really testing the metal here as he stands his ground and almost dies, but doesn't lose his GA.
And now the front line of NAVI is dead for 40 seconds.
Flash.
Oh, Bobby.
Petrifying gaze. Bobby making something here with the twin fangs unleashing. Kalista is dead. Khan tries to come in, and Bobby actually standing his ground with the cozy campfire. He gets a bit of healing up. Kana has to jump back out. Busio gets down, and Bobby is 5-0. He's 3,000 gold ahead of Yahoo. If anyone can do it, the Popester can.
And Poby finds a huge pick to narrow the gold lead down to 8,000.
I mean, it's a much-needed pick. If nothing else, Poby is the shining light for the team right now. The Actualizer does give him a ton of damage. And if KC disrespect, they give more picks over to NAVI. There is a very slim world where they turn this game around.
Poby's 5-0.
Yes. That is what Jake said.
Yeah, wow. I mean, Yike, like, I think Yike here was caught a little bit unaware of Navi's position and nearly ends up going down. Just, they don't quite have the damage to actually get his GA. And then Mainter dies and Yike gets the triumph.
Well, I think Kalist is the one that makes the big mistake here.
Yeah,
he's just trying to steal away the Raptors. He's safe, but a nice flash ult from Poby.
Mislim da to je najlegitimniji komentar koji sam je mogao dam u ovoj situaciji. Jedno lagano lele. Nije baš bilo za kuku, ali je bilo blizu, iskreno. Bilo je jako blizu.
Casey did not end with the Baron and the Soul.
Yeah.
So they now have an actual chance to at least get to the Elder to have a fight for it.
I mean, it's all on Poby, right? Like that's the guy that we're keeping our eyes on. The story for Navi this split has been Relech largely this year, but now the man in the mid lane is the person that we're keeping our eyes on to step up and find a carry performance for Navi to try and equalize the series 1-1.
Liza's out, Yahoo doing a lot of work. He gets pillared as well. Culling, he flashes. Great pillar, by the way. Didn't notice that until it was too late, and that pillar from Real Edge gets a summon around with the help of damage from Sandy.
That's flash down for Yahoo now for the Elder fight in 1.5 minutes. Casey still want to try to contest for this tier 2, but if Real Edge can get another nice pillar like that, and they could burn a flash from Kalist, that could be pivotal for the actual Elder fight.
Ja bukvalno, znači, ne znam. Čak i da Casey dobio ovu seriju 3-0, ja nekako i dalje sad sve manje i manje verujem u njih. Najiskrenije.
I like the play. Like, it was kind of like...
Well, I think that there's no real downside because the Elder is still a whole minute away.
True.
And they secured the top tower. And Kana, I mean, I can quickly check his ult.
He for sure will have it.
It is...
40 seconds, I think? 40, 50?
30... 30-ish? 30.
30-ish. Where are the numbers coming from?
Just 30-ish.
Okay. Trust me, bro. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kana's going to have ulti.
Yes.
But is the flash from Paris big? I mean, actually, probably kind of is, right?
Probably.
So, what are the percentage chance that Navi win this fight, that they win this Elder split?
Percentage?
Yes.
You want to give you percentage chance that Navi win this fight?
Because I'm more optimistic since I've seen the last 3 or 4 plays.
Somewhere in the
maybe?
1 to 3% range.
Ooh, they like those odds. Let's see. Mainter, Hexgate, 5 seconds to Elder. Kana's found out. Navi are in the river, and that's the first step. The hardest step is getting him.
That's true. I'd say it's 4% now.
Okay, good.
As Kalist is taking some damage here from the Elder. TPN from Kana has the shield. Kana is going to look to stack up the Q3 here. Maybe he can land something on the carries of Navi.
The person had more scared of his Kalist stacking up his massive.
Poby just tried to ulti Yike, and Yike just stepped away. Crystallize sends away Navi. Right now, KC are playing the time game, and Poby has no ultimate. That is a big whiff from the Korean mid laner, who is the strongest in the team. Cullen going to come on out. Clone's going to block the rest of it. Cozy campfire for the range. Relech steps on up. Angle from Mainter misses the ulti as well. Meanwhile, Paris getting a
Sandy? Sandy? Što duče se bije s Kanom? Dobar ult. Mislim, ovo je u zoni, ali svako si ga CC-ovo. Da li si ga CC-ovo što je on sam sebe ili si ti njega, nije ni bitno ovaj game. Dobro. Mislim, ovo svako nije bilo winnable za Navi, iskreno.
It's done. It's busted. 5 members of KC stay alive as Navi get ace. They tried to flip the Elder. It wasn't enough. KC looking to go to match point.
And KC showing a really dominant best of 5 thus far. I think for me, a big surprise.
Ja bih rekao da i dalje ima previše grešaka. Najiskrenije. Čak i kažem kao neko ko realno volio bi da, ako ništa KC stompa, da mogu da kažem da sam donekle dobro pročitao metu, ono. I dalje mislim da nije... Da li postoji FF? Bukvalno, znači, bukvalno ne smiju da se predaju.
My goodness. Yeah, I mean, we need to see a lot more from NAVI if they're gonna even get a game in this. I mean, a gold lead. They're still looking for a gold lead in this series.
Znači, legitimno ako dođu i baci FF, Riot ih kazni sa... Mislim, kao, neće se dogoditi, jer nisu ludi igrači, ali bukvalno je protiv pravila Riota. Što kad pogledaš, mislim, ima smisla zašto ne sme, jer zamisli sad ti platiš kartu, gledaš Ligu šampiona i dođe, brate, Arsenal i kaže, pa mi se predajemo, na primjer. Ili PSG, šta god. I kao budu u fazonu, a vraćao, realno gubimo 2-0, ćemo igramo, ajmo kući. FF. I izađu, i odu sa stadiona. Vidi, dobili bi permaban svega doživotno do kraja života, znači 2 puta doživotno. Tako da, surrenderovanje, ma koliko ti u solo queue, možeš baciš FF, jako je, ne bi smelo da se dogodi.
Okay, Finn, explain it to me like I'm 5. How?
Let me make it make sense real fast. There's a cut to do here. This is a DIY little draft.
Maybe we misunderstood what we were playing for today. Maybe they're competing with Vitality for worst draft.
That's true.
Maybe just
Makes a bit more sense now.
Okay.
Svako, imamo 9 minuta pauze.
This is an elimination best of 5. But we also have to say it
I onda se vraćamo nazad u program.
There will be a game 4. There is no indicator, there is no path to success here to believe that there's a game 4. And Kana has been like 3k ahead every single game and still dies at least like 2 to 3 times randomly, and it's just like they're kind of just having fun.
Dracos. Navi didn't have a goal lead, I think, for a single second this year.
Yeah.
And that's exactly why the comeback is going to be even sweeter.
Ooh.
Okay.
So like,
guys, this
like
no,
honestly,
that's just like we can't. At a certain point, we're spreading misinformation because we all saw this game happen.
I did see the Lucian just dash in and just
where did it go wrong? Where and why did it go wrong?
Everywhere. I mean, when? This morning when they woke up.
No, come on.
Okay, not that mean, but there's been the criticisms for draft have been fair. I feel like they're just Finn highlighted very well. The Trundle just didn't make any sense. I just feel like there's just one element of dysfunctionality when it comes to the early games. It feels like there's no clear win condition walking into any of these games so far.
We said that Navi looks the best when Village is in the driver's seat.
Yeah.
Now, game 1, he was in the passenger seat, you know, feet out the window, whatever. He was in the trunk this game, okay? He's going further and further back in the car every single game. We need to see him kind of go back, get that wheel, you know, and drive some cars.
The analogy I would use is like there's no wheels on the car. They keep putting him in the driver's seat.
It's like Fred Flintstone, they're just running with the car.
It's in the impound lot. Bro cannot go anywhere because I don't care if you pick Trundle and you have this great invade strategy. If all of your lanes are losing again, except for mid lane, shout out to Poby, actually had a pretty good game. Like, you just can't play the game.
But that's the odd part that makes it so damn weird is he has these plans, but it feels like, oh, I'm gonna go and do this no matter what happens. Good luck, everyone. I'm going, and then he just wakes up in game 1 and game 2.
Yeah,
he just doesn't have.
I don't think it's fair to say that Village has been the driver's seat at all because I feel like he's kind of been.
But
no, we're going off track.
That's the hard part. I cannot find the driver. I can't for the life of me find who the driver is because it just feels completely off the chart.
Maybe the driver was the friends we made along the way. Okay.
Okay. This is the state of the series, though, right? It's like we're degenerately memeing and coping for anything to hold on to that's tangible. The reality is we need to see something from Navi we haven't seen all series. We need to see a level of control and drafting, and this is a tall task. Like, I don't know how you solve this problem, but you need some winning lanes and you need a favorable matchup for Relutch, and they've failed to do that every time. The one lane for Poby wasn't enough when everything else was in complete and total free fall.
And that's why I'm wondering, for 27 days, what have they been cooked? Because so far I have seen Relutch on meta.
What
game
have
1.
they been cooked?
I mean,
I'm sorry, that's
they did it pretty cooked right here.
Okay. What have they been cooking? Because for 27 days, I can't imagine Relutch just playing Xin Zhao and Trundle. When you think of Navi, the only times where they had dominant games was Relutch on off meta.
Yeah.
So they need to take that stew, flip the bowl, and
Remake a new
gonna
one.
go out.
Okay,
We're
we're banning metaphors. There's a train, there's a car, there's stew, no more.
Oh, if you take the stew and flip it, like it's gonna end up on the floor.
Yes, exactly. And there they will find the solution because Village just needs to go back.
Eating stew off the floor.
Okay, Finn, let me finish. Village just needs to play off meta again. If there's one thing that I can think of when it comes to Navi and how they can come back, is put him on comfort zone where he has individual agency. Game 1, Zinzao versus Jarvan, slower jungler here. Game 2, Trundle with pretty much no support from the lanes. Now he just needs something where he can do things by himself, because if it's about Village and friends, he needs to be the main character again.
That's what we said after game 1. Hopefully they do it after game 2. Now, on the good side of things, KC are overcoming their demons. I feel we've talked about early game fumbles. We've talked about them not being as dominant as they should be if they want to be the top team that they aim to be. That's what we want here. We wanted to see
dominating
games.
Stop! You cannot compare this game where Navi has shown up and getting blasted in early game to the series they played last week.
But you
KC
give them
don't
credit.
get a free pass.
You have to give them
Do
credit.
we?
Yes.
Because I saw a lot of sloppy fights in the late game. If they weren't 9k gold ahead, they probably die in that jungle, and suddenly it's a much closer game. And maybe they don't take
Dracos,
those fights.
you will never understand this, but as a player, as a former player, you know, when you suffer from success so much, you feel like you can do anything. So I would excuse those moments, because they did get 9k gold up. Because, you know, when they played G2 last week, they were on average 6k gold down at minute 14.
No,
That's a 15k gold swing.
It is a step in the right direction, but given the form of Navi, the thing for me is it is not sufficient to give me confidence that KC, should they make it into the top 3, could beat an MKOI or beat a G2. And that is ultimately, to me, the only bar that matters. I don't care if KC get a little bit better. I care if KC get good enough to beat what I assume will be Vitality tomorrow, that we'll have to see, and then MKOI, and then G2, because I think that's the only thing they care about too. This series has not been enough to show that.
And you gotta start somewhere, and it starts with good early games, I guess, so far for KC. We'll polish the rest later, but for now, it's do or die for Navi. They have 2 games to come back, and at least one hope here to make it a series, so let's see if they can make it happen. What's wrong with me today?
I think you should have a break.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
Maybe because I'm bit crushing.
The whole room was howling.
Howling? Oh. That's not howling, buddy. That's...
Did you steal the LEC trophy? Okay, you can call this.
Red Bull gives you wings.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express and game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
The human body was built to move. Not trapped at a desk in one singular posture for 12 hours a day. It's time your chair evolved. This is Secret Lab Titan Evo. Ergonomically engineered for you, gamers, hybrid
crystallized. Flash Frost gets the stun, waiting for the next frost bite. Onto Relech, who's running for his life. This bird is going to get the help from a two-man sword. Flashed in for the Q. Mortal Steel in the back of Relech.
Sounds flanking. Yeah. I'm on caster for now. Vision on me. Middle dead, middle dead. I'm dead. Vision dead. Watch me, watch me, watch me. Yeah. Kanskje nå, watch. Just get front, kill me, kill me. Nice. Go mid this one after. Ha ha ha. Good job.
Yeah, Hussein is dead, but he's
yeah. When did you see you were dead? I was like,
well, you know, when I say dead, I'm never this.
You lie to us. Why?
Yeah.
Why you lying?
He's going for good luck, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
Can Na'Vi show up is the biggest question here, because so far it has been KC's world, and Na'Vi have to live in it in this reverse sweep potential, because so far, I mean, it's our biggest question whether KC can even drop a game, rather Na'Vi take, let alone can Na'Vi go the distance. What I'm trying to tell you all at home is it has been hard to watch this from Na'Vi's perspective.
It's been disappointing.
That's a much better word.
The truth is that it's one thing for a team to be better than another team, right?
Yep.
Like if you're better and you fall short, that's fine. But I feel like Na'Vi hasn't even shown up. I feel like I haven't seen the Na'Vi that I saw surprise me during the regular season. And I mean, even their series at the road trip, yes, it was KC that won, but Na'Vi put up a stronger fight when they met in Every, when they met on KC's home ground.
True.
We've yet to see Relech on a carry.
Yeah. So, but they're now on the red side. So let's see how things shift. They've taken away the Orianna and the Rumble. The Nami, a big ban, I think, especially with so many of the range supports removed from the pool. Jax, to me, does suggest that maybe Casey's thinking about a Gwen. Possibly even an Ambessa.
Or they're going to go Camille Galio because they're just 0 up.
They could also do Camille Galio.
Or that Varus is going top, which it most likely is.
Yeah, definitely a flex. I mean, Jax is the best top laner into it, so that allows the Varus to go either top or bot. And it's a champion we've seen from Kana before, seen it from Kalist as well. Has a good track record there. Bard up and available for Paris. It's also a takeaway from Busio. Already, I think maybe we have a better draft for Na'Vi than
early
action buttons.
Part of it is a denial away from Yahoo, but you know, you mentioned that Galio earlier, Jake, and I am now thinking about it. Maybe it is just a good slam here into the Annie.
You know what also? I'm just going to say it. We have seen Syndra floating around as well to outrange. I don't know how you guys feel about that. Maybe irrelevant for now, but I feel like the fact that you can mention Galio, I said something maybe silly like Syndra, there's a lot of options here for Yahoo in the mid lane, while Nautilus has been left, locked in for engage.
I mean, now you have a really strong bot lane if you want to put the Varus bot.
Smolder angle thoughts? I mean, or do you not lose the flex? Do you care?
I mean, I think for KC, you're just going to hold the Varus flex until later.
Yeah, just lock in mid. I think
you just
Galio,
answer
I think
the
it's
Annie
fine.
here.
Aurora, Victor, all fine.
Yeah.
This is also technically a double flex.
True.
Yeah, you can flex the Aurora if you want to just go flex it. You can put the Knowledge Jungle too if you want to be really crazy.
Okay, Jack Spectra. All right.
I will say though, KC are a little bit more stock standard when it comes to their drafts. Normally they're not about the crazy shenanigans when it comes to multiple flex picks.
They've been playing the Brand mid-top. That's kind of like out there.
That's true, they did play Brand. And how did that go?
Not so bad, so maybe they should stick to the
normal stuff, yeah.
We'll see what Na'Vi has here in store up against this potential Varus. It's going to be the Sivir lock-in for Samdi. I mean, we saw a great Sivir game from Samdi a few weeks ago. And
how's the matchup?
In like Sivir Bard into Varus Nautilus, it's definitely losing for the Sivir Bard, but it's not that bad. Like, you can clear waves and survive. But it's the thing is, I don't think Na'Vi, like, they've kind of drafted survive lanes every single game. And I don't think that's ever going to win you the game against KC, because we've seen now 2 games in a row, if KC just has lanes that generate a lead on their own and get prio, Yike and the boys just run away with it.
And so they're not convinced, very much as you both discussed, that this they're not convinced the Varus is in the bot lane. There is always the possibility of it being flexed towards top. Na'Vi almost certainly have to lock in their jungle here. They need to know what's happening in the top side. And I wonder if this limits what direction Relech can go.
Yeah.
I would really like if Kalist decides to put the Varus up top. I mean, it's not just him deciding, it's the rest of the case as well.
Yeah.
But I think Kai'Sa here would be really cool. Kai'Sa Nautilus is a great bot lane, and Kai'Sa's really nice into Sivir as well.
I mean, Olaf Ban kind of shows that they might, you know, 99% that's going to be Varus top, right?
I think definitely they're looking to put the Varus top for sure.
They banned a Theory.
Then you know, yeah. But, I mean, would you be threatened by Mainta picking Nefiri? Like, I don't see this guy as the biggest wheelhouse of dynamic champions up in the top lane. Not like the Kanas, the Mirwins, the Broken Blades.
I mean, I think that if you're KC, you should always just respect your opponent.
Ja, mitte man nazad.
Very good point.
Like, yes.
But you also need to adapt based on the enemy's temples.
Oh my god, I'm also right. Thank you, Jax.
I mean, it is very much down to a team-by-team thing, right? Straight up, does Kana respect Mainta? You can just sit there and say, let him have the Nefiri, I'll beat him anyway, right? Could very much be the conversation.
And Yorick. I mean, Yorick is pretty nice into ADCs because...
Ne, ali Lee Sin da.
If you pick Nava, you're inting. Oh, no respect! And Mainta slams it.
I ovo je legit isto.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like, this is inherently...
Ovdje čak i nema šta no respect, ovo je legitiman pick.
Which we're now going to find out. Then you have the cards here to NAVI to put it up in the top lane.
Okay, but if you're NAVI and you're going into a potential elimination game, would you rather have Relech on the Nefiri or Mainter?
Relech, yeah, 100%. But you're not going to put a tank top, surely not. This could also be
that is a Rek'Sai top.
Or is it jungle?
Rek'Sai mi je baš tako iskreno.
A lot of Rek'Sai jungle being played in the past patch.
Was there a significant change to Rek'Sai? I don't remember any nerf or buff to Rek'Sai.
I've got a computer in 2026, the big year, I can tell you.
But I think Rek'Sai should be really good into Nefiri because whenever Nefiri wants to ulti, you can always cancel with the Unburrow. And you should win the 1v1, I presume. Let's see what they look at last year. Corki. I mean, Corki's nice into Bard because you can always dodge the ulti, and with that, it's gonna be Rek'Sai.
So
Varus top, Aurora mid, not the support.
So is...
Korki u Barda je kao šta god, jump mu je jako spor, tako da nisam baš siguran da li mu je to najbolja opcija.
I don't want Relech on Sejuani.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe you need it, I don't know.
Aatrox. There's a lot of AD damage. AP damage? Do you need AP?
Oh, surely this isn't good into Rek'Sai.
I thought Rek'Sai was like the Lee Sin counter, no? Because
yes.
you can always cancel the Q.
Yes.
Lee Sin top, and put the Nefiri in jungle.
I to je play. Što je najjače, on se sprdal, to je legitiman play.
Do you remember Ender?
Yeah.
So he and I used to play duo queue a lot, and he was a big Rek'Sai enjoyer.
He was.
And he loved the Lee Sin matchup.
I remember Worlds meta. I think it was the Broxa Lee Sin, where it was like Lee Sin Rek'Sai most games, where people always were counterpicking Lee Sin with the Rek'Sai. And I think like it's a really nice Rek'Sai angle because now you have the Lee Sin Q you can cancel, you have the Nefiri ulti you can cancel, so you can kind of.
Što je pikovo Lee Sina u... Što bi sam sebe counter pikovo? To mi je jako bizarno, iskreno. Ne vidim poentu.
The range is more so in favor of the Corki and the Varus. Sivir has good wave clear, but you are super reliant on Poby being your engage. Flash ult, maybe Bard ult as well.
I've got some news. In the past 2 weeks, as I'm searching through Yike's solo queue, he's 7-0 on the Rek'Sai. It is his 3rd most played currently in these said past 2 weeks outside the Lee Sin and the Nocturne. So take that as you will. As a big thank you to Molecule, who's always providing us with stats. Let me know that Sam D is 3-0 on the Sivir. But that's in competitive play for Sammy D. And as we go into this 3rd game, we've got a lot of questions. We're a little bit concerned again, but we ask the question, can NAVI do it, keep themselves alive in spring? Their versus felt like it was such a massive improvement for the organization to come in and just go, hey, here's a bunch of players, a couple of scraps, the stretch line, going to run into the wall. Poby's still not out of dodge yet, though. Busio, will he commit the flash? No, he will not. He did start E for the lane.
Mislim, ono što gledam na Firiju Varusa, možda mu imunuje ult, pa kao nakon toga ajde. Također ima neki range pressure kroz Q spam. U teoriji nije loše. Jedino što se meni ne sviđa je Lee Sin. Ja ne vidim zašto bi ikad pikovao Lee Sin u Rexi. Relech je stvarno jako dobar igrač i kažem sigurno najbolji na strani NAVI, ali mislim da dalje nema razloga. Ok, hoćeš da mu daš carry pick, imao si 75 boljih carry pickova od Lee Sina tu.
NAVI have never won a game versus KC in the LEC. So your copium, your hopium, let's hope it is enough to get NAVI across the line. I do feel like a stretch line not going to connect here. At the very least, Sam D has tools to deal with things like the Nautilus here in this game on the Sivir that we highlighted. But What lanes are we looking at, gents? Like, what is it?
Top lane.
Top lane, for sure.
So
Okay.
I'm convinced. I watched Drutu shorts where he showed on Neferi that you can just kill Varus at level 1. You just kill him.
Right. That hasn't happened yet, but
hasn't happened, no. But
are you gonna elaborate how, or just
well,
like you just kill him?
You walk up and the Q is super important, right? The bleed stacks are mega important.
Yeah.
But then you also, I want to say it's your W that spawns the dogs, right? It makes you invulnerable, and then it also spawns the dogs.
Yeah, but you said level 1.
Yeah. In my head, yeah. But so basically, you set everything up at level 1, and then you get the level 2. You turn into the thing. You get the dogs. You apply the bleed. You do the damage. Drop the ignite.
Is he doing that now?
No. Again, it's a very quick short. Like, I'm not saying that it was a perfect analysis of this top lane 1v1.
But also, did he have Halo Blades or Deathfire Touch?
Halo Blades,
yeah,
for sure.
Because like Deathfire Touch is like the better rune on Neferi, I'd say, in sense of scaling.
Deathfire Touch na Fury. Za range pressure, mislim okej.
The next in trouble. Walking away is Kalist into fog of war. The Gatling gun out, and Paris almost finding the kill, but Kalist running away from the minions while Busio tries to take the next, and he will into the.
Već su ga ugasili ovdje, iskreno.
And the all-pro first team bot lane finds the 2v2 against NAVI. Where are the haters now? Beautiful outplay from Kalist. Place in the bush.
Well said.
Wow, you're really antagonizing people today. I mean, that was a very nice 2v2 kill from KC. The flash hook from Busio here, just perfectly timed. No opportunity for Sambi to react. He flashes away, drops an early barrier, and then at this point, Kalist knows. He also doesn't proc the spell shields, which means that...
I Samdi je lepo igrao, iskreno baš unlucky.
I mean, Samdi's spell shield must have been on cooldown there, because he used it all the way at the end when...
Realno vidi, ako se renamuješ, prodaš account, kupiš nov, niko neće znati za tog tam kenča na midu. Realno bi baš bila fora piku 1000 piko dorga da uzmu da potpišu, brate, OTP-a, koga niko ne zna. Ali baš kao da ga niko ne, da je baš kao teško da se, ili tipa da se, znaš, neko renamuje, da postoji neka fora da saštekaš identitet. I kao sajnujte na game. Ti se prijaviš i oni te sajnuju. Tebi je malo teško, tebe možeš naći, ali da ima neko kao ko legitimno, kao nema digitalni trag, ne mogu da provale ko je.
It certainly is. Relech is trying to cross-map. He's stealing away enemy jungle camps. You can see that he's actually been able to build up a big advantage in terms of the early clear. We haven't been keeping a close track of how he's been able to do
da, Casey ga, boga mi, stompa jako.
But now those top raptor respawns of his are being contested.
Cheeky, nice.
Looking for Yike though.
AORUS. Magical journey. And there's Busio waiting for him. Dredge line in and the kill to you.
That's not ideal. That is 4 kills to start off this game for KC as Paris on his road towards mid was matched by that of Busio.
Unlocatable. Šta li igra, pitate se. Ima i toga. Gdje si pobesnili? Evo, chillamo ga jako. Ne znam da li si vidio ovu igru što igramo večeras, ako nisi pogodio obaveštenjima da skineš. Mislim, 8 GB je, tako da realno neće nešto puno vremena zauzeti, ali...
Spacing from the incinerate means Yehu doesn't take any damage really in response. Busio's coming in for the roam. Dredgeline going to find Poby as he has to return his back even further back in this lane. Over the wall lands a Lee Sin, maybe. Relech thinking about a sonic wave as the push comes through. All in. Incinerate, Tibbers as well. Going between the veil. Yehu might be in trouble. Good counterplays. He flushes away the weirding. Builds space. He dodges the cosmic binding. Yehu alive on Mainta. Looks for his first kill of the game. He's going to ulti. And after the flash, gets knocked up. Hot damn, Yike, the unburrow was clutch.
And that's the power of the Rek'Sai. Cancels the Neferi ulti from Mainter, and it's tragic.
Oh, it's so bad. It's just so bad for Navi because you've committed so much to make that play happen. You used flash.
Ništa, moramo da nagovorimo doktora da vrati instalira opet, pa ne, može da nas ostavi na cedilu, čoveče.
Fully commits to this dive and it still doesn't work.
Što znači ja nisam tutorial. Nisam ja tutorial odigrao. Ali ja ću ga na streamu igrati, baš da ima čemu se radi, iskreno.
Thank you.
It's okay.
It is not okay.
Not at all.
So that top lane matchup.
That's the sound of defeat. That's what that sounded like.
I would say that normally, like, him dying to the gank top lane actually wasn't that bad. Because you do always have kill threat, especially if you still have the ignite. But the roam down, I mean, now it's really bad. Now it's really bad.
Yeah, as Kana stayed in the top lane, I mean, he's only got Tabi. I'm wondering how much gold he's sitting on because...
The thing with this matchup, though, is that Neferi needs...
Možeš skipat, ne. Taman posla.
With Kana having a near full level lead, I mean, we might have a bot lane.
Yeah, how did this go? Fossil bomb used. Sam D in a bit of trouble. Kalis lets the rocket out. Barrier saves Sam D's life. But even the bot lane in the 1v1, things could not go better.
Is he going to be able to cancel him as well? No, he doesn't have the rocket up in time. It's just so difficult for Navi across the board. Maybe Reledge.
Sonic Wave misses. Reledge gets over the wall with a safeguard onto the ward. Remember, with the changes, he'll have that up shortly as well. Busio finds an angle too. Not going to get tagged this time around. He takes the tunnel system over the wall, but Busio's there waiting onto Poby. He goes by himself. Busio, you think, pulls the trigger a little bit too early. Safeguard or rather Sonic Wave going to be used, but yeah, who just goes between worlds, hits out Poby.
Poby izgubljen. Dobit će na kraju kill, ali... Mislim da ovdje, iskreno, da je Casey trunku čistiji, ovo bi bili mnogo brži gameovi. Mislim da Casey ne igra čisto koliko mogu da igraju ovdje, iskreno.
It's kind of a scattered engage because Busio's going in while Yike is going out. Now Casey feel forced to try and make something happen off the play. He takes the Bard portal, but now Yike is completely alone.
Jer da Casey ima moć završavanja G2-a u playoffu, ovo bi bilo 3 gema po 15 minuta, bukvalno. Znači baš je hard neigrivo.
But hey, Navi, they do get a kill and they do get the grubs.
Yeah, grubs being a good consolation prize at least. Now, will they be proccing the grubs much in the next few minutes? Probably not.
And the biggest question is, how do they use the burnt flashes to their success right now? Doesn't feel like right now we're looking at that fight going, oh man, Navi found so much in the play.
Ooh, but Kalist could be in trouble with Paris and Reledge being behind, especially if Kalist wants to try to play aggressive here.
The journey, because there's no tempered fate. Sam D now spotted out. Kalist gets a big one down. Waiting again, he's a little bit sus. Now finds out it runs 3 people. Valkyrie going to be used. Kalist trying to cut away. He does as he flashes Cosmic Binding. Still connects. A shutdown onto Sam D for Navi. He's needed.
Ne znam, ja kažem, što samo G2 kad uđu u playoff sam postanu bogovi igrice. Nijem nija neko objašnjenje kako može G2 da bude toliko loš u regularnom dijelu i da toliko dobar u playoffu. Osim da ih radi na T1 i u fazonu su... lagana priča, bole nas uvu, ućemo u playoff, onda kad dođemo do playoffa igramo ozbiljno. Kao što T1 recimo radi za Worlds.
I'm afraid the viewers at home will not be allowed to avoid watching that. Oh, there we are. Stoke's just going to hide that for us on the screen because that pretty much is where the goal difference is. Everywhere else on the map is relatively even. In terms of itemization, it's pretty even across the board, aside from top lane. So Navi definitely have ways entering this mid game to make plays. Let's see if they can find a gank onto Kana.
Maybe it changes a little bit here. Tempered Fate going to be on Kana, but he flashes away. Change the corruption a bigger though. Hail of arrows on the Paris almost gets the kill. Mainta call the pack to get him out of there, but Yike is on the way. He flashes. He finds prey and finds one. And speaking of a seeker, onto Paris is the one shot here with the Q from Yike, but he's going to use tunnel system. Gets kicked midway. Sonic Wave unburrowed for the counter onto the least in. Yike still gets boomerang blade though by Sam D, and the chase up enables a kill for the Civ top.
And it's Reledge on these proactive champions that he's able to give some more life for Na'Vi. A 1-for-1 in the end, but Na'Vi are going to be happy to take that. The only thing that feels quite bad for them is the fact that Kalista is able to take these bot side plates. Kana even able to cancel something.
Well,
maybe
Sandy
that'll be
flashes boomerang blade, find Kana, who's got the barrier in his sights. So Sandy wants to chase down hail of arrows. Under turret, Sammy with the barrier. He thinks he's okay. He might just be. Fog of war with the shield up. He gets the kill. But now how do you get out? Into Busio, he thinks maybe I can trade the kill. It'll be a dredge line, it'll be an auto attack, it'll be a turret shot. Yike is coming in. There's the auto. Aftershock away so he doesn't steal the kill. And a prey seeker here will just steal the job. Sandy gets some plating.
Spori je na sjever. Bez ulta.
That's a nice gold injection for the Civet, I would say. That's an item now completed. The Essence Reaver finished up. I think that they're not too happy. They're not unhappy about how that played out. Relech starting off this dragon, enemy jungle on the other side of the rift. This should go uncontested. Okay, Na'Vi, they are alive here in game 3 now, making plays. The lane phase did look a little scary, and I will admit that the top lane gap is still very much there, but Na'Vi have a lot more fight in them here in game 3.
They've got dragons in this game 3 as well, so at least they've got something to lean on. So it does feel optimistic.
And I do think that scaling-wise, Kana is going to be a problem, for sure. We cannot ignore the Kana problem that Na'Vi will run into later on in the game, but a Sivir on 5-6 items in this game. A lot of items. A full build, maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
I think she can do quite a bit, especially with how much CC there is in Poby with the ultimate, with Paris with the Tempered Fate. There's a lot of good setup to set Samdi up for success in later game team fights if Na'Vi can actually get there.
I just want Mainter to be willing to full send it a little bit more. I think at a certain point,
but at this point, I don't think he does any damage.
Yeah, okay, maybe. But I feel like at a certain point, you do just pretty much perma-kill the Varus on side. I want to say...
At this point of the game?
No, sorry, at a certain point.
Okay.
At a certain point.
In a different game or this game?
In this game.
I don't think he's ever winning.
I know, I have to believe. I have to believe.
Got a brutalizer.
Yes, that is not enough damage.
Ja mislim da postoji ugo gdje na Firi možda outplay Varusa. Iskreno.
He autos, he shuts down Busio.
Okay, much needed kill for Na'Vi, but again, Relech 0-0-4 right now, but involved in another kill. Na'Vi continuing their fight. The goal gap continues to get smaller as KC are being contested. Herald going to be spawning in 40 seconds. That has to be the next major objective that both teams set their sights on.
You can really see how different Na'Vi is with a proactive jungler, where Relech actually has lanes that he can play around and plays to make. And it's really been the heart and core of this team. And now
I love the way you're describing. In my mind, Relech is like, I'm full sending it. I'm ganking every lane. I'm doing everything I can. And it is working.
It is working. And that's
Desimo tu, chillamo ga. Chillamo ga, ekipa KC-a bi trebala da ima baš Rivi Navisa kao s raspada, ali... mislim, koliko god KC dominira ovdje, ja nisam ubeđen i dalje. A ja kažem, bi trebao da sam taj lik koji u fazonu, rekao sam da će KC biti dobar. Ja želim da KC bude dobar da bi mogao da kažem, rekao sam da će KC biti dobar, ali čak i s ovim sa 2 da kažeš stompa i dalje mislim da su previše grešili.
Talked about. Mains is caught up a little bit now with Voltaic Cyclo Sword. The only problem is turret's still falling down, but when I see that problem, I see the causality. That Mains is also getting his own turret in the bottom side. So props to the dog. He's going to move to about 500 gold disadvantage. Temper Fate going to be used on the mid lane. Paris used that for the Herald, and it will successfully work on out. The Herald charge doesn't succeed.
Yeah, gold just traded equally across the board, tower for tower, and even though KC got the Herald due to the fact that they don't get the crash, it's actually just completely equal gold-wise, and overall a nice play for Na'Vi. Now they can base, look to set up the map again, and actually play for the Mountain Dragon in 1.5 minutes, and I think this has been kind of the comfort zone for Na'Vi when the game is a little bit more equal, and they just can play for the Dragons and play for the Dragon setup.
Ainta is a little homeless on the map right now. He is shadowing the Annie, but
Ajde, vrat. Uživaju u drugom poluvremenu. Kapiram da je dotle sad stiglo, bar bi trebalo.
Oh, and Poby and Kana swapped places there. Kana TP'd top while Poby TP'd bot.
Oh no.
So at least Poby's gonna be able to pick up the wave from this play, but still another kill going over for KC. Yike now with 5.
Kažem ti, vidimo, to samo ti fali sad konkretna infrastruktura i to je otprilike to. Ili plan B igraš open. Samo ovaj put, ne ispadneš odmah, mislim. Ali dobro, to je sad već razumeš, to su tehnikalije. Ja verujem da ga imaš.
Meanwhile, Kalist loses a ton of HP.
Sonic Wave, Kalist, he kicked his flashed on with a Tempest. Relech, nice little pick to punish Kalist from being cocky, staying mid.
I mean, Samdi had to have set that play up. Like, there's no other reason as to why Kalist would be so low on HP, and the timing couldn't be better, because the Dragon now spawning. Relech doesn't have flash, doesn't have ult. Could be difficult to keep Yike out of the pit, who I imagine will look for a steal.
Yeah, no kick on Relech, so Yike could look for the steal on the wall. And still, I mean, Kana is in base, so the only thing Yike can do is look for a steal. There's not going to be any sort of fight.
It's a lease in, Q execute plus smite. How's he going to find it is the biggest question I have. As NAVI, right now, they're going to see KC moving to top side, or rather Busio behind Fog of War, spotting out as Mainta's going to be running in. He sees the lens, unleashes Dark and Daggers, but Busio on his tail. Yike quickly behind as well, wants to bring the Void Rush into play, while Mainta walks up to defend the inner turret.
Alright, well, NAVI put themselves on soul point. The gold gap is now only 1,000, and that basically exists on the top side because Samdi, look at how strong he is. 2 fully completed items. We're going to get a replay of what happened in mid lane.
There's just Samdi fighting him.
He just straight up just takes all of his HP off. Kalist tries to go for a trade, he loses it. Q, kick, flash E. Well, E flash, technically.
Yeah, it was clean mechanically there by Relech. Looking a lot more comfortable in this game number 3. And even though Yike has the 5 kills, it's still pretty equal across the board. I mean, Relech has the full item. I think Yike is sitting on a lot of gold. Relech is on 2 items, but Yike is just on the 1.
Half HP on the hunt's going to be popped. Tempered Fate brings in 2. Sonic Wave was taken there by Relech. He's now got the depth charge on his head, but as he gets sent up sky high, the kick still comes out. Relech running out with the weirding.
Obično je open, da. Inter ne može da ulta, jadan.
Just survives. Yeah, who's still looking for the next victim. If it's going to reset, mid-turret now exposed.
The good news for KC is that that fight was 4v5. Kana has been isolated in the bottom lane, pushing the entire time, hitting onto that tower. And look, he's able to get 4 plates off the back of that, extending his individual gold lead while securing the mid-tower. And it's NAVI that tried to force this play. They trap Busio out. They think they've got a quick kill, but him dropping his ulti and then the TP in from Yehu was the big game changer.
Yeah, I mean, Yehu just does so much damage here in the back line, and you see that Mainter wants to go for another Neferi ult, but Neferi is so difficult to play against his Rek'Sai, and Yike just joins it.
I thought it was Kalist Valkyrie through because I saw something fly. Yike used Void Rush and he ended up going through the magical journey to chase Mainter.
And another piece of bad news for NAVI was the fact that Yike was sitting on like 3,000 gold in that fight. So now he has the full Shojin completed and 2 cloth armors.
AORUS, as he found out, he's going to be smited, knocked up with the unburrow. Valkyrie forward, so the Gatling gun with Kalist and the big one can take him down. AORUS called out 1 and 5.
No, jeste. Ma ne mora ništa znači, vidi. Niko nikad ne može da zna kakav će biti sljedeći split TBL-a. Mislim, ti možda pretpostaviš kao da Partizan verovatno završava roster, on će biti, ali opet ima Gaza koliko je za mjesec dana napredovala, sve je moguće, odi ima Inter ovdje. Jako unlucky za NAVI, ali ovo je baš na njihovu veliku žalost ni blizu.
The control has massively swung in KC's favor. A single big team fight in mid lane is giving them full vision coverage over the top side. Kana has arrived to the Baron, and this objective will be started off.
They took some time to do it, though. Mainter is going to spawn in 15 seconds. Oh, Busio just flashed.
Busio just flashed. It does turn into a dredge line of depth. AORUS also just flashed into a wall, but he did get a magical okay,
it's because he flashed to not get CC'd by the Nautilus.
Or he flashed in solidarity to Busio.
Busio for sure thought he had Hex Flash.
For sure. He did. So both supports now have flash down. The difference is, you're right, Hex Flash for Busio is now up and available. Let's spot it out, taking camp.
All things considered, though, even though KC got some picks, they didn't get the Nash, and it's still the soul for Navi spawning in a minute, with Samdi having nearly 1,000 gold lead. So team fights, like especially if somebody can pick up the Infinity Edge.
That's the thing for me. He's got a speed run that item completion. If he
speed
can
run
get
it, he has it now.
Okay, there we go. This is great. This is a great spike for him to hit ahead of the Dragon fight. I think this fight is ultimately going to determine this game. If Navi have a chance of turning this game around, this Dragon is their best case scenario, because Casey will have to come. Casey will need to fight them at this objective in order to stop the soul going the way of Navi.
Angel start with top push.
Navi, maybe they just want to drop the Dragon here for gold, because with how they're posturing, it's already 30 seconds. It's going to be hard to play for any sort of Drake control. I think it's just going to be a cross map. Maybe they can look for the tier 2 as well, but I think it'll be hard. They can try to transition into mid bot, but with how deep Yike has already pushed this bot side, I think they're just going to look for the tier 2.
Well, they're going to look for the dive. Sonic Wave is taken, kick mid-air. Yahoo gets on out between worlds. That was a weird Dragon's Rage, I think, into the between worlds. The dive still happens, though. Mainta unleashes the pack, takes 2 turret shots, or rather only 1. In the end, he's now going to get out, though, and that's the problem. He'll try to eviscerate over.
Da, nema. IBL samo nema pravila. Znaš kako LEC ima pravila, uvek znaš. G2 će da pobedi. I to tako bude otprilike.
I mean, they got 2,000 gold from this cross map. It was a 4,000 gold lead for KC, and now they narrowed that down with the shutdown on the Yahoo, and with the fact they got some plates on top and the top tower. So overall, I think not bad. I think the biggest thing.
Finding change corruption comes through anyway. He's going to find a route down eventually. Spell shield doesn't work out. Hail of arrows onto Sam D, but Canon not going to continue the chase.
I think the biggest thing is they just recognized the fact that it was hard for them to try to face check into the bot side. As we see how this top lane play unfolded, it was a bit of an awkward kick, as you said, Jake, because he kicked him into the ulti again. Oh, we'll zoom in on the Neferi.
But we take stock. I mean, Dragon did go down to KC, but as we said, Navi are on the top point. They do have the leverage there. And it does give them more time for the Sivir that we talked about being a win condition to gain up items. 3 for the time being. Looks like it could be an LDR angle for 4th.
Yeah, definitely going to be LDR now, looking for some D.
Da, u Lecu već se zna, sve se zna već šta i kako, jeli?
But the items after that are going to be more defensive in nature. BT for lifesteal, Guardian Angel for the revive. And really this is the core damage.
Što je okej, vidjet ćemo da li će neko da upsetuje G2. Spoiler, vjerojatno neće. Ali možda, ko zna, nikad se ne zna.
Thank you for that. Fantastic. So it is enough.
Okay, well, I don't agree.
I mean, it depends, right? It's too black and white when you put it like that.
Darkness for now. Navi face checking Kobe. That ain't his jungle. He flashes away from the between world citizens out, but it's again an unleash from Yike in the ulti. He's only just out and gone. Running out. He's alive. Meanwhile, the rest of the fight's gone pear-shaped here for Navi. Well, Mate has to get on over the wall. Sam D can't approach. And Yike Void rushed in and lives to tell the tale. There's a smite still. Unburrows a look in here for Yike as he stays up with his passive, finds the Unburrow and unleashes hell onto Rilech. The flash away from Yike as Yahoo gets in the way. The 2-fold Hex coming up next and it'll find the kill. Rilech is down, 3 in the ground. And Navi in their own jungle have been found out.
Things are simply falling apart here for Navi as Kalist, he can't defend that mid-tier 1. Mainta will secure it. Now he's being hunted down. Oh, no. KC going to back off. They know that the Baron is being started. Navi will take a...
MEA kreće za... Što je danas? Subota, ali tako? Kreće u ponedeljak, ali ne sad prvi, nego drugi ponedeljak. Tako da brzo će proleteće vreme i do MEA, mislim. Nema šta, sad gledamo danas, sutra, prekosutra LEC i onda ima još 2 dana LEC-a i LEC završava u nedelju. I odmah onaj ponedeljak tamo kreće MEA.
Instinctor is gonna die. Kana went invulnerable, is on his second item while Poby comes in to finish the kill off. It is a 1-for-1, and against Baron, I guess for Navi that's worth.
I mean, they do slow down the siege quite a bit, unless Yike wants to continue fighting.
Does he want to set up a tunnel? He's gonna be Tibbet.
Ma to ne znam ti kažem tačno, ali trebalo bi tako nekako, mislim, taj finalni split je očigledno najduži uvek. Tako da...
Unironically now just lost 30 seconds of Nash. Now Yike needs to base or regen up on the camps. They don't have any
Ne, bukvalno ne znam, šta god ti kažem, neće ti biti dovoljno merodavno ti pomogne, tako da... Bukvalno nemam ideju. Jer to malo zavisi i od Šangaja, sad nemam pojma kako to funkcioniše sa Adrijom, znaš. Da li će biti Adrija qualifier također, da li će biti, znaš. Jer znam da je originalno su ovi radili vamo, Adriju radili su, imali svog organizatora i to je, znaš, oni su onda bili odgovorni za to, pa se onda to uklonilo, pa je postao samo Opene. Sad možda se oni vrate, ko će ga znati, mislim. Tu nešto pravila.
I feel like that the fights aren't even going the way of Navi. They're so reliant on catching their opponents off guard.
But Navi, again, they're looking to cross-map for top lane instead of playing for the dragon. I think they really need to get a 5v5 going at the soul.
I think they have to try and put some trust into Sam B unless they really think they just can't win the fight.
Yike on the hunt. Here it comes again. Waiting for the Void Rush target. Preyseeker sent out. Remember that tremor sense as well gives so much information. That's why Relech, Poby standing still so that Yike can't scout ahead. So that they can hover around this top point.
Da, nema. To su uklonili od Los Ratonesa su morali. Mislim, to pravilo, ono, jedna super stvar kod postojanja Los Ratonesa, pored toga što je to naš igrač imao prilike se pokaže, jeste što je Riot pogađao pola svojih pravila koje su imali smisla da bi oni mogli da učestvuju u svemu što Riot želi da učestvuju. I onda ne može Riot sad da kaže, a šalili smo se, ipak smo se predomislili, sad kad Los Ratones više ne postoji. Tako da su onda ostavili ta pravila i nama super. U smislu infinite import i sve to, jeli?
CS win condition. True. To the long-time League fans, if you know, you know. Well, no Baron for 2.5 minutes, no Dragon for 4.5 minutes, which means that it's a good opportunity for Navi to just farm. They have to farm. KC though, they're looking to put some pressure down on this top side. They move into the enemy jungle, they clear out the wards, they keep Kana in mids to push out the next wave. Meanwhile, they've got a stacked wave on top. Navi's decided they're instead just going to cross map, but they're slower on this play, which means that I think KC could even start threatening the inhibitor tower if they want to.
KC are much faster here. And now somebody is going to defend this top wave, which means KC can get the mid tower. So it's going to be 2 towers, while Navi gets the 1 tower on both.
Nice from Busio, Hex Flash, but he does Q into the turret regardless. 2 turrets, as you said, is going to be a bigger trade. And to finally takes down Inner in the bottom side. He is isolated and separated from everyone else. He will have that support, that top quest if he wants to use it. Busio, an angle here. Relech might safeguard over the wall. He's depth charge though. The chase from Yehu. Protobelt into the wall, but between worlds there. Flash from the enemy Lee Sin. Relech gets out, but Flash now down.
No flash kick now available for Relech. Could be a big problem for Navi as this game continues. We talked about how Relech has really been the playmaker. Oh, Paris, you've been caught out so many times this game.
He is. Yike, easy armbar here before you get in the magical journey. No way. Yeah, who gets the electrocute and turns Paris into a 1-7 bard.
I mean, the good news is there's no...
1-7 bard, brate.
The bad news is you're just handing free gold over to KC.
And it also feels bad. That's another bad news.
I mean, yeah, Paris has had a rough game.
But on the brighter side, you said very earlier that there will come a point where Nefiri just kills Varus.
Yeah.
Now the goal is pretty much equal between the top laners. Are we gonna see that now?
Well, GA. He has gone Zonya's third, which we've already seen him use.
So now it's GG?
I mean...
Well, no, I think that it is possible, but it depends. It depends. But I think Nefiri has enough damage to maybe kill Kana. Maybe.
And that's if Kana is playing the game actively.
Yes.
Okay.
Busio might be caught out in this jungle. Let's see. I mean, the rest of KC near by, so that answer's going to be no. Dragon to 20, next Baron 30 seconds. Yeti is going to clear out this camp and continue to maintain dominance. I mean, he has been the more dominant jungle. You said, right...
Ma kakvi nema, možda uzmeš 5 Koreanaca u IBL ako hoće sad. Nema, full je izbrisano pravilo importa. Pa?
Samdi wasn't there. He wasn't there to do the damage that Navi so desperately needed. The 4.5 item Sivir. If he could have provided it, that could have been the ace. Get out there. No!
1 and 8.
Yeah, the pass.
I'm looking at that play because it looks so
Feels
amazing.
bad.
And there was no follow-up damage. You hit the nail on the head. No Sivir ricochets.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I could think of. I was like, why aren't they all melting? They should all just be disappearing. This engage is so perfect. And they just didn't have Samdi. And now after losing Paris, no jungler to contest. KC looking to close out this series 3-0. Navi have put up a much better fight. But the fight is not enough. We look back, and again, the minimap, the Sivir is still too far away. The combination is perfect. The animal now, Samdi arrives. The Q hits onto one person, I think it hits onto Busio. Meanwhile, Relech then dies. And yeah, it just... Navi, the coordination has been a point of contention before, but they're not on the same page, and now Casey looking to eliminate them from the spring playoffs.
Single game found by Navi. Casey. It's a very short history, but regardless, that narrative will continue.
Esikaorija naša.
Fathers of Navi, or at least the new fathers.
I feel like you made that one up.
No, well, I mean, I had to because I guess with a short history, you kind of launch onto anything that can tell a story. And here it does seem to be the fact that Navi just can't climb over the short hill is for KC. For now, Dragon up in 15 seconds.
Gle, vidjet ćemo, ja sam uvek taj koji veruje u ono, ako dovoljno grindaš, dovoljno se trudiš da svašta može se uradi, tako da sad treba ostati dovoljno dugo komitovan, dovoljno dugo uporan i u stvari raditi, jel?
Continuing to push in the top side, they could even look to contest for the Mountain Soul.
I mean, KC, what is happening right now? Like, it was such a silly mistake to make. This game is yours to lose. Yeah, it's actually a way bigger mistake than I initially thought. The Baron into the negatives. A Soul now secured for Navi off the back of a great kick from Relech. And Yike.
Wow.
Caught off guard.
Okay.
It's never over until it's over.
5 item Sivir.
Yeah. 5 item Sivir. We just need one more. And a little bit more farm.
Oni će izgubiti game, ljudi. Mislim, Sivir što je najjače... Ne znam baš... Dobro, ima mjesta za još jedan item. Možda uzme neki Guardian, nešto defensivno.
Not again. Okay, he's fine.
He's not gonna face it.
He's not fine.
No, he's not fine.
Again! Are you kidding me?
Oh, you thought he went down and they pull him right back in.
Oh my goodness, he's 1 and 9. The Yasuo power spike. We're getting close to that point.
She's playing Yasuo. But I don't know how it works with Bard, but I think right now, bit of despair as the rest of the Baron's going to be used to get mid push. 15 seconds of it, Sam D. Is a Sivir, will have wave clear. KC continue to thrive in these lanes.
Well, I don't know what to say anymore, because we're 35 minutes in. The game should have ended by KC. They make a big mistake. And now, Navi with the Soul, with a Sivir, they're going to hold the line, because no Baron, no Siege for KC.
We're going to Elder, I think. Potentially. I mean, it could...
Da, ovo je sad grind, mislim, sad opet. Patch gde AD carry imaju jedan item više nego što bi imali ranije, Sivir u stvari ima bolji scale potencijal ovde, tako da ona i dalje može da scala, da napreduje. I onda samo u jednom trenutku sa legitimno full buildom vidi. Ti kad pogledaš drugu stranu, ok, Jajke, tanky, nije da nije, ali full build Sivir, boga mi, nije za bacanje.
So if he can just auto attack and get the ricochets out, he is going to melt whoever's in front of him. The problem is just since you're playing this low-range Sivir and you don't really have much of a front line, it's been hard for him to have high DPS in fights, especially since it didn't show up in some of them. But I think now in this Elder fight, it's really on to Reletch and Paras to be able to set up with Phoebe as well, the CC to allow Sam D to get that fight that he's looking for.
I mislim druga stvar je li jedna mala greška ti samo izgubio game. A Samdi nije igrao toliko konsistent, tako da... What the fuck? Ček, stani. Jedi, ja hoću VAR ovdje. Ja zamolit ću vas, ako nije problem VAR, samo da vidim replay šta se ovdje dogodilo, pošto... A brate, pa Alkalisti potpisu ugovor do 2028. I sad je u fazonu realno mogu da rundownam, koga boli ovo? Ja mislim da ima tu neku priču, iskreno.
For the defense, will the series go on? The first game ever, NAVI against KC in the LEC, as one Nexus turret falls on down. Yike goes in for an unbar as a spell shield there. Sam D survives, and Kites out, they're gonna do it. Their first ever win against KC, as KC dropped the ball, but NAVI know how to play catch. No, the Nexus exposed.
What? Uf, ja reko, ako zbog ovoga ne dobiju game. Ajoj, čoveče, da zbog ovog nisu dobili game, ja mislim da ne znam. Posto bi NAVI fanboy. Ovo je baš bi bilo nerealno. Ništa, ajmo da vidim, pauzica, tu smo, nakon 9 minuta gledamo još jedan game.
Well done, NAVI. I have to say, we spent an entire section in between games talking about how impossible this was, and while KC certainly played a hefty part in making that possible for NAVI, like, good on him. Back against the wall, the Lee Sin, the top lane to Fury, which I think could have gone better, but we definitely had
got online at some point. I thought this game was done and dusted. When I saw the Lee Sin fall behind, the only saving grace was the Sivir for a long time. And I just sat there for 15 minutes thinking, hey, stop that.
No, don't stop. Keep it coming, man. That's amazing.
No instrument has felt more appropriate for this game.
I don't know if you guys can hear it, but yeah, that was amazing.
That's a kazoo? Yeah, it's a kazoo.
It's a complete zoo, but it's a zoo that I love, guys, and we've said it. It didn't look good. 2 games down. The beginning of third game looked god-awful as well.
It was a repeat.
It's been about resilience for NAVI, and I love this.
And what I really want after, especially after it has started so bad, I want the springboard. I want them to springboard back into this series, because if there's one game that unleashes you or just erases everything from the memory, erases the pain from those first 2 games, because those were indeed miserable, it is this game. Because now going into game 4, after you clutch it like that and Annie ends the game and wins the game for you, well, the Tibbers rather, I can't ask for more.
And again, the tenacity to hold on there gives me a lot of faith coming into the next games. Also, Poby, again, having a pretty solid game. Reletch finally delivering. And it wasn't a weird pick. It wasn't the Nefiri that I thought he might initially go to. It was the Lee Sin for him. And it looked excellent. It looked fantastic. He was, what, 5 out of 6 kill participation through all the early game, making sure they were getting the Drakes even while KC were so far ahead. And that's what kind of set them up with the way to come back into the game.
I want to look at that last play, actually, to see how they made it happen. Because you've talked about that Tibbers. I love the way they managed to make the best out of what was a split fight and what looked like an overextension to begin with.
It looked like it was quite free, but Khalid still feels, oh my god, he just got blasted. But it looked like it was going to be free, but once that damage threat from KC dies, some D just unleashed. Varus Kanaf really feels like it's his moment. It's the only way to save the game, because even if he doesn't go in, if he doesn't try to trade with the Sivir, that game is just over. So he's trying to pick up the slack from the fact that Khalid did make that crucial mistake. And right now, I thought it was going to be an easy win. I felt like at this point, when Yike is dead, they can cleanly end the game. But it came down to the wire and the Tibbers. I just want to see the Tibbers just try to win the game. Come on, Tibbers, hit that Nexus. Oh, look at Tibbers. Look at
just
Tibbers.
slamming them. No, I love
he
it.
is dead, and Tibbers is angry. He just wants that Nexus for Navi.
You gotta be mad when you look at that gold graph then on the side of KC. But yet
There's
again,
so many throws.
It wasn't the cleanest game. It wasn't a game that Navi should have won when you look at the gold graph here, but on top of the resilience that they showed in-game, we've been saying that Reledge should be empowered more. I love the last-minute switch that they operated with in the draft in the last picks that they had, because they see that the Varus is going to go top lane, they have the Nefiri, they flex it, and they put Mainter in a carrying situation that he's not used to, usually.
Exactly, and these are the kind of moments where you do have to pull this trigger, because when you think of Mainter, he's always this tank player. He doesn't want to shine. He doesn't want to play these sort of carry matchups. But when you look at it and you say, it's a great matchup, you really have to do it. I know you most likely don't have practice, but at the same time, it gives you a good matchup on top. It enables Reledge to play this sort of funky off-meta champs where he has a lot of agency. You have to take it, and I do commend them for this, because when you're 0-2 and those two games look like that, it's not an easy decision to make at all.
No, it's definitely not. And again, impressed with the tenacity there, and I want to see if they can keep this momentum going. And there's a lot that we could say about KC, but I want to save it, because I think that Navi deserve this moment, this little glimmer of hope that they have. And really the only question for me for KC on the other side, because I don't think we have the time to get into all the little fumbles that I'm sure they're looking at backstage and are painfully aware of, is like, they need to hold on to the mental. They cannot let this one slip away from them, because Navi, they're going to be feeling good, and whatever fringe picks they tried 2 times in scrims that felt impossible, they're going to be feeling pretty good about heading into this game 4.
Exactly. I'm wondering on the side of KC how they feel, because when you have these sorts of games, I've been in that backstage situation many times where you just rock up there and you throw a game like that in such a fashion. There is some comfort in the fact that you won early game this much, but at the same time, as you brought it up very well, is Navi should be feeling unleashed, because this is the pick that gave them the soul, because this was KC's time to win the game. It was Nasher, the split push was ongoing on top lane, but that doesn't really matter so much. But this pick buys Navi so much damn time.
Yeah, and I hope for the sake of KC's mental that what they think back on is how many times did Yike interrupt a Fury dive? How many times when Yike saved Kyahu in mid lane? I hope that those were the moments they're looking back in the game like, this is what we need more of, and we just can't afford to get caught late game. And I hope that they're not tunnel visioning on 2 back-to-back plays. Unfortunately, both from Yike, one with him getting caught and one with him, I think, overcommitting resources onto Lee Sin in the mid lane, that both were pretty disastrous. Kalist as well, not free from criticism. Dying in mid lane is an ADC classic, but in a game that felt so won, it's especially just frustrating.
And we've talked about Navi and their demons, and the fact that inexperience and always putting Reledge in the driver's seat was actually something that was not helping them, because that is the only way they can win games. Embrace your demon, guys. Like, honestly, when your back is against the wall like this, just embrace it fully.
There's no better time to face your demons, and especially that demon of inexperience and over-relying on Reledge, than now. Because if you lose, you go home and you get to go to bed with those demons again, and it's gonna haunt you for a really long time. So this is the time for them to just show what they got.
Yeah, I mean, keep it spicy, do something crazy if you want to. At this point, like, everything I thought after game 2 is out the window, clearly.
Is it?
Well, they're
still
not. A lot depends on the form that we see, but we've entered the realm of intangibles where Navi are going to be feeling good and KC are certainly going to be beating themselves up. And so it's like, if we come in with the same form that we saw all series, KC are still heavily favored, no doubt in my mind. That said, Navi showed enough in a game that should have been unwinnable that I have to have that glimmer of hope. I can't say what we did say at the end of game 2, which was, it's over, pack it up, there's nothing we've seen. We've seen something now. Reletch on the Lee Sin, able to find these angles, able to find their way back into the game. So, is it hard for Navi? Yes, but now it feels in the realm of possible to bring us to a game 5.
What looked undoable actually looks kind of more open now on the side of Navi. At least we have a series, so let's see if they can make it happen again.
Now finds out it runs 3 people. Valkyrie going to be used. Kalist trying to cut away. He does as he flushes Cosmic Binding. Still connects. A shutdown onto Sam D for Navi. It's needed.
The Fury, if you're near it. The Fury. Oh, good. This is like...
Let me try.
Wait, brother. Let us break this instead, brother.
Have a break. Have a Kit Kat.
What is this, brother?
Perfection. In your best man speech, you said my wife is funnier than me.
That's factually correct.
Okay.
We're in range.
Nah, it's fine, man. It's fine. Relax. I've got this. I have years and years and years of experience.
Yeah, but it's gonna.
It's very hard. And there we go. Look at that. What are you so worried about?
Oh,
a new champion. Welcome to my shop. You'll need the right build. Choose wisely, because every upgrade brings you closer to the next level. So tell me, how will you level up?
Red Bull gives you wings.
Want to find your fastest server every time? Express like a pro and optimize your connection in one tap. Express and game without ISP throttling. Express and shield yourself from DDoS attacks. Express and choose the VPN trusted by gamers everywhere. Express VPN. Experience gaming the Express way. Fast, stable, competitive. Outplay the world. It's time to Express. Unlock free Hextech rewards, exclusive skins, and more. Scan to subscribe.
Let's go. Confident like you never deceive. Big ego, bigger brain, it's really obscene. So we only wear designer cause we always look clean. And for that money, 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 everybody a fiend. And the bling like a chandelier hung on my chest. And I get it for free cause I'm simply the best. See deposits every hour, not breaking a sweat. About to lunch with my girls, grant every request. Thank you.
we're back here ahead of game 4. I didn't think we were gonna get there, guys. Especially
my head thought you would say game 3 because
I was actually about to say game 3. I'm like,
I actually felt like you were gonna say it because last game was a fever dream. Now we're going into game 4. Really, when Fearless starts to kind of take over the kind of drafting phase, there's a lot of really strong champions taken out, especially in the 80 carry position. I think almost been like the stable champions have been picked already. So now we gotta go dig a little bit too deeper. I mean, Odo talked about it. This kind of where we enter hyper carry, 80 carry meta, where because there's less engage and just like the strong lane 80 carries are out, you start leaning more towards the Jinxes, the Zeris start becoming higher prio.
Exactly. We're still looking at support on that are open to the Karma. We might have the Darn Yumi coming in with a lot of the other hyper carries. But this approach is already just banning junglers. We're looking at Real Edge still to show us a little bit more because this is Navi's first best of 5 and we still haven't seen them go into this game 4, game 5 distance as you brought it up, Finn, where Fearless does come to take over and we need to see a little bit more creativity from both of these teams.
And that's the thing, they managed to make magic happen last game. It didn't go to a good start and now opening once again, empowering Real Edge, it worked last time, so that's what you want to aim for here.
Yeah, I mean, they just ban junglers and then take the Pantheon, right? But a Pantheon in isolation won't do that much. You really want strong lanes to play around for the Pantheon to really make use of that global. So need to see them kind of see that draft plan through. Already Jhin being hovered here by Kalista. I think it's the last strong lane AD carry. If you really want to secure a strong pushing bot lane, Jhin is kind of the main AD carry. But there's also Saya and her lovers do a Rakan. Doesn't need to pick it, but they do end up picking it. So solid bot lane combo here picked up already by KC.
It makes sense because you don't want to isolate and give them the chance to take the Rakan away because in this world right now when there's just so little amount of enchanters left with pretty much only the Karma or the Yumi, the Alistar and the Rel still doesn't really make a lot of sense given that you have this pairing. So it's better to be safe than sorry to pick them together and give other people in the draft more opportunity to get that counter pick.
Yeah, and speaking of counter picks, I feel like blinding top lane is becoming harder and harder, so you might as well just pick up a top lane champion here. If you really want the Gnar, I mean, you might get vaned, but if you want to blind pick the strongest top lane champion right now, you kind of need to pick it now, otherwise it's going to get banned for 5. They already locked in the Talia, so could also use pick an AD carry, like the Jhin if you want to counter the Cyan lane.
I do expect to pick the Jhin here because you do need to neutralize. When you pick the Talia and the Pantheon, you make it clear that you want to empower Poby and Real Edge to be able to pretty much go around the map, but they go away from the Jhin and they do feel like the Alistar is a better option. They do feel like when I look at this Alistar, I feel like it's more about empowering Poby. You want to go to the mid lane, you don't really want to go make plays through the bot lane or that side of the map. So that's why they opt for this approach to let that ADC fall through and pick something that's a little bit more self-sufficient.
Yeah, and also when your top laner is going to be in a tough spot to blind, it makes it a lot easier for him to play the game. When you have a Talia, when you have a Pantheon that can come there and help you if you're playing against something like a Vayne or one of those cringe top lane champions. As we see Ahri lock in into the Talia standard, but you really want Ahri with a strong skirmish heavy junglers, and those are getting quite
it is very pinched.
Quite scratched thin right now. Yeah, there aren't that many strong champions that really want to skirmish against the Pantheon Talia left.
I am struggling to see what would be open, what would be left, because the Nocturne is out, the Skarner is out,
it's
everything.
Like Zahen Aatrox, I think. You gotta go that direction, or go like a Bruiser jungle.
Is it still good though?
I mean, there's still Kha'Zix open. Yeah. There is a Yike Kha'Zix special.
With Kha'Zix into Talia Alistar, do you want to play that? I mean, you could for sure. If someone's gonna pick it, it's Yike.
I do like this approach of just banning ADCs because what KC find themselves in a position where this is where I feel like second pick is absolutely strongest because you get to get counter pick everywhere. You don't need to put bans into top. You can always go 5 pick and pick your top laner. Right now you have an easy option to just pick your jungler on 4 and then do react with that counter pick.
The question is, because top lane blind is already so hard, do you ban the Gnar here yourself to kind of shut down that blind? Because with the Vayne ban coming out, it is very likely that we will see a Gnar blind. So you could take it away here or even take the Gnar yourself.
Well, it is really easy now because all you need to do now is react. If Gnar is open, you can just pick it on 4. If Gnar is banned, then you're just very happy to go on 5 because we do find ourselves so deep into Fearless that Gnar pretty much ran out of counter picks. The TF has been out, the Chase is out, the Rumble is out, so there's not much that can be taken away. So right now, all the pressure is on Navi. They do get the choice if they want to ban this Gnar or if they want to leave it open and play into it. Because I don't envy Navi's position. They all go into this 4-5 and they just don't have good blind picks. So now
they banned the Gnar. I think I feel like you have to leave the Gnar open and pick something into it yourself. By banning it now, you're just setting up main turn for even more of a demise in the top side. But I mean, maybe with the Pantheon, with the Talia, he can pick something volatile and rely on his mid jungle to kind of help him snowball that lane. But Renekton will be the lock-in here for Casey, and you don't want to pick something volatile against Renekton. You could just go for standard tank champion here. There is Thor up and available. You could go, what other tanks are? I mean, there's not
Yeah, man,
much to play into Renekton, yeah.
I feel like you can still go for something like Aatrox that is a little bit losing, but I'm just a little bit curious on what Navi.
Ma mislim da ovo Janko s ovo je odamne, zar
I
ne?
do like this opt-in into the MF if it does come through, because it does come through. It's self-sufficient. She can pretty much play by herself, and she's not really in danger so much. And it does add a little bit more team fight power on the side of Navi.
It's the last pick for Yike, though. They're once again setting him up for something cheeky.
I do feel like the Kazakhs might be coming through.
The Kazakhs might be coming. You might be completely right there. First, we will see what he blind or picks. It's the Canon.
Now, as a Canon enjoyer, do you like it?
It is extremely rough into the Zaya. I do feel like Casey has proper answers to deal with when it comes to the team fight phase of the game. In terms of laning phase, I could not be happier. I have Pantheon, I have Talia, and I have the counter matchup into the Renekton. I feel like if I would be Canon, I would be able to take over this game, but when it comes to team fights, I would not be having a great time. And the Olaf is coming through, and actually, I love it.
I mean, Olaf is fantastic.
I love it.
Pick. It's a really good pick here from Yike. He's completely untouched, and he can just dive freely. There's no real burst damage to get him down before he gets his resets, keeping that Ragnarok uptime up.
Versus so many mobiles, I feel like he's having a field day. The Rakan can bounce off of him, find that crucial engage, but the big question for me would be what's going to happen to that top lane. Will Navi manage to snowball through that top side? Because when I look at the other sides of the map, I feel like they don't really have enough consistent playmaking tools. It's all about that top lane, and if they manage to shut that Canon down.
Yeah, and not on the top lane. To me, like, it starts in mid. Like, I think you need your Talia to be able to move around the map freely, look for those Weaver's walls, and really look to catalyze the mid game into late game. So we're going to jump straight into game now, as we have game 4 versus Navi and Casey.
Thank you very much, Finnegan. As a top laner, you and Odo would realize and know and have told us many times, and me, myself, and I, that this lane sucks for Renekton. I'm just going to drop that there. But before we get into the lanes, I just have to say, big dub for Navi. Their first win ever against KC.
And their first win in a BO5.
In a BO5. In their first ever BO5. And Mainter said it in the comms, actually, in multiple games. He said, don't worry, be chill. He didn't say that, I'm paraphrasing quite a lot, but he definitely came across with that energy that they just need to calm down and be okay. Look at all this drawing on the screen. That was us getting excited. As Casey looked for the invade to start the game off, Paris is going to have the defensive ward here. He spots him out. Okay. Well, the Navi fans are out. Big.
The analysts shared their thoughts on the draft.
Yep.
I really like the Canon.
D-Blade, Canon u Renektona. Canon je uvijek bio fajn u Renektona, ja mislim.
Well, objectively a good laning phase this series.
Oh, by the way, MVP of last game was Grubby.
Yeah, well, I have to apologize, because I was shouting Tibbers.
I thought it was Tibbers as well.
It did really line up, like Tibbers did the auto, and then the
it looked like it, but it was in fact the Grubs. The Grubs burn.
You said, when we were looking at the replay, when the AD took over, that it was the last tick of the burn as well.
It was the last tick of the burn, yeah.
So, which is kind of crazy. So, MVP also relatched for getting Grubs in the first place, you know.
But what's the most insane thing about it was, I think, mathematically perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I think that if Navi had done anything differently, they literally would have been short damage.
True.
Because the Nexus went down to 2 HP, it healed 10, it then went down to 6, and then it went from 6 to 0.
Oh my god, so it really is mathematically perfect.
Yeah. I couldn't obviously calculate exactly how much the burn damage did per tick, but the fact that it went from 12 to 6 to 0 leads me to believe that it was 6.
Yeah, I mean,
in any case, it was very close. And Navi, they did get a very big win, which is a huge deal for them. I think for me, I'm still looking for that vote of confidence in Navi, though. I still want to see them showcase what they showcased during the regular season, which was their ability to build leads and roulette shining. Now, we did see roulette shine in the previous game, but the leads, their ability to build them, is something we're still looking for from this Navi squad here in playoffs.
Yeah, I think you're completely right, Yeti. For me, the bright side of Navi is, again in this game, they have a lot of proactive tools that we saw Reletch play really well around in that last game. They have stun and pop from Mainter. They have Kobe with the W as well. And then they also have the Alistar, but it might be in trouble here.
Late caller, maybe going to come in soon. Samd going to be exhausted, but now that he comes on out, he's looking for the trades in response. Kalista amidst the minion wave, gets doubled up on, and that's a very beneficial trade for NAVI.
I mean, the laning phase is going pretty well for NAVI across the board, some great trades, but Casey still with good last hitting, means that they're staying still even in the farm, even in the gold. But does Kalista need to base here?
Trying to put another shock now down. Kalista for the chase, Buso gets a knockup. The grand entrance is SamD, double up again on top of Kalist. By the way, just a quick side note while we are looking at bot. Kalist is 17-3 on this champion. I thought I'd throw that there. Career stats of all time.
It's a pretty good record.
Mislim koji bi se draft više sviđa ovdje.
This is Kalist champion.
I mean, I think after last game, he definitely has a mark to prove with that quirky Valkyrie in. It was
Šta bi rađe hteo da imam ovdje?
pretty big throw.
That was something.
Yeah. And I do think, like, for me, I feel like Kalist has been a receiver of a lot of undue criticism.
Yeah.
I feel like he's always just, like, people remember very strongly a few moments where he hints, like that quirky.
Sviđa mi se Canon, ali s druge strane mi se možda čak i malo više sviđa
But it's just people remember very
overall draft. Arim je verovatno omiljeni mid laner. Zaja Rakan također uvek jako konsistent. Gdje su ovice? Mada opet ne znam, mislim, kažem, Casey... Kažem, i u stomp pobedama verujem da su napravili mnogo više grešaka nego što su smeli. Tako da ako game-ovi idu even, ja čak verujem da je Navi skroz okej tu.
He's got a note button at least in this game as well with the Feather Storm. As so far that bottom lane note is going pretty well for SamD with the misfortune as Vamp Scepter going to be picked up first here. While we look to do at the top lane, Hana's actually doing okay.
Yeah, is this not bad for the Canon?
I feel like it should be going a lot worse a lot earlier on.
Yeah.
This Renegade in Kana is doing good.
And you were telling us earlier that you were stomping on Titan in Platinum, so maybe you can give us some light on this matchup?
Yeah, let me give you my Platinum insight as someone who's reached Emerald 4 peak. Let me add that.
Eto vam na večno pitanje koji su rankasteri. Emerald 4 peak. Dobro, zato se realno preporodimo kad dođe Jack Spectre ili neko za des koji u stvari high-ilo pa dobijemo neki ono insightful info za matchupe i za neke stvari za koje obično ne čujemo u programu. Mislim u prenosu, čujete kod mene sve ono lagano, tu sam za vas, nema frke. Da, pa jesu, mislim nije ja kad kažem Mastercaster nije toko česta stvar više. Nekada je ranije bilo kad je Riot kretao, onda ne znam, ono, Krepo i ko je već bio tu, ono, bilo je dosta pro igrača, Snoop je isto bio na desku i onda kao okej. Ali generalno većina kastera koji su ostali da kastuju su su jako malilo. Legitimno su plati igrači. A mislim, vidi, u suštini ti teoriju možeš naučiti bez mehanika, tako da isto kao što neko ko, znaš, možda nije najbolji fudbaler, možda komentariše fudbal. E sad, ima tu svega i svačega, naravno, u smislu
replicating a little bit of last game, but an even bigger lead for him. And now with the level 7, a full level lead, it's super hard for NAVI to ever win any sort of fight around him, because before, I mean, it's just a TP from Boost here.
Yeah, it is, but it's a Rakan with flash. and Busio not spotted out. I mean, I'm just saying, there's also an Ari coming in.
I'm gonna give the floor to you. Let's see what happens.
I will say he's not going mid. So that's what I thought would happen, but thank you, Jack Spectre.
I saw the idea. Though,
Yeah. See, I mean, I saw a TP and I thought, maybe he has an angle. You know, Kobe didn't have flash, Jack. I'm just telling you the information that I had.
I want to do a quick top lane check-in because I feel like this Renekton is still very comfy.
He's going good.
He's dead even in
actually
farm.
ahead in gold.
Yeah.
That's a pushing wave.
I mean, that's a bit generous. I mean, sure. Yeah.
Technically.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a pretty big wave that's pushing against him as well.
That's true. That's also true. Good observation from our top lane expert.
Ali dobro, Casey opet počeo dosta jako, tako da... S tim da je prošli game su svi izgubili, tako da ne znam koliko to sad ima ovaj... Koliko to ima pula ili nema.
I'm starting to doubt your expertise in top lane here, because this matchup looks pretty good for Renegade.
Okay, sorry, man. Maybe I don't know everything. I mean, Kana is up.
I mean, I will say that Mainta is definitely not punishing Kana in the way that we often see Kenans punish this matchup. I'm still excited about the Kenan pick in the context of the comp. I think that... hang on a second, Rilech.
Flash, engage. Rilech goes forward instead after getting the scuttle. He puts the door up. There's Ragnarok time. He can't escape. Rilech thought he could ulti out, but he's denied as Yehu charms him down.
I mean, he gets the scuttle crab, but it comes at the cost of his life. Yehu going to be picking that kill up, and Casey bouncing back here in game 4 with a vengeance. Amassing a 1.7k gold lead, 9.5 minutes in, first dragon goes their way.
Let's not forget all 4 games have been stomps in the early game anyway, even game 3 that felt a little bit closer.
This is NAVI comfort zone.
Yeah, they like this, you know? Being down in the early game, this is how they get on board.
So the difference in this game is that there's no 6-item Sivir.
You could get 6 items higher.
6 items higher.
Yeah, I guess, you're not really hyper-scaling on bots. But was it last game, was it really the Sivir that sealed the deal?
It was not.
Honestly, I don't remember the final team fight.
I mean, Kalist Valkyrie forward and got one shot. And then the rest of the team just scattered.
Okay, is it a reliable win condition to assume that the enemy AD carry?
Well, he doesn't have a dash.
He doesn't have a dash. Is that better or worse?
Better.
Okay.
And he has the ultimate. So, I mean, I think Kalist is going to have a good performance. As I say, I just realized he's down a lot of farm, actually.
Yeah. I mean, the bot lane of Navi's doing really well. They're finding a lot of really good trades.
And has been this whole series. I will give credit to Sam D. It was Ash that we opened the series with. Where
it was literally last game that
the
Casey
Lucian,
bot lane 2v2 killed them.
Yeah.
The game before that, the Lucian literally didn't approach a minion wave.
Well, let's see what happens now. Paris in a good angle. Busio about to be trampled up. There's the unleashed of the bullets. Exhaust is a trip on my words. Was used to stop the damage from Sam D, but I mean the 2v2 is going well again.
2-0 plus Drake nije svakako loš start.
Well, game 1 wasn't too bad, was it?
It was pretty even, yeah.
It was even, yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he had a lead at some point. Yike, he's up here.
Nice trade there from Mainta. Very nice trades.
It's more about what it looks like.
Yeah, I think the whole goal here from Yike is just to cover Kana, help him push the wave underneath the tower, and make sure that he's safe. Kana choosing to stick around for another wave, though. Normally, when your jungler does this, it's because you want to fix the wave and then go back to base.
I think Yike just has some free time, and the idea is kind of like, if Mainter all-ins, then I'm there, you know? And then Kana can push in the wave safely as well. It's like a 2-for-1 type of vibe.
Fair enough.
And now he's still in time for the crab spawn, so you can just pick that up and continue holding on to this really big CS lead up a full level onto Rilech.
Stride breaker second right for the Ola, I assume.
Yeah.
So Hexplate, Stride Breaker, the chase down build. It would suck if you didn't have an escape, say your misfortune.
Yeah, I think it's a tough MF game. I mean, me and Vedi talked about it earlier, like that MF, I feel like she always kind of feels out of place in these drafts. Like, you really need a great wombo combo for me to find MF to be a great champion.
Yeah.
And most teams aren't actually drafting that. So now you will just, yes, she has a good laning phase, and maybe if she can transition that into a bigger snowball, they might try to fight for the red here, but I mean, Navi has all the numbers, so I don't think they'll be able to do it. But the problem I have is that once come 20 minutes, I feel like Renekton can just flash on your head, Olaf can run you down, Ahri can flash charm, and you don't have any of that mobility that a lot of other ADCs do, or the invulnerability that Saya has, it's really, really difficult to maneuver the team fights if your team doesn't set you up for success.
I will counterspell you.
Okay. Okay. Nice. What card?
I'm going to use Betty's been casting for 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
In my 10 years of casting...
Did you tap your money?
Yeah, I'm tapping right now.
Okay.
In my 10 years of casting, I've dubbed what I would call the Jarvan effect.
Okay.
Which is you EQ flash R, get the enemy AD carry. Guys, where's the rest of my team? Hang on.
Ragnarok used quickness as well. This turns into a counterplay from KC. They've got their own counter spell. Slicing Maelstrom is a one-man and gets the flash out of Yike. He retreats as Mainta shows up to save the day. Over the wall, there's Kana. There's going to be a wall sent in response. And a stun up. Kana's isolated. He can't get through the unraveled earth. And Relech seals his fate for a kill for NAVI.
So going back to my original point, at what point is it too deep? Because this is the risk that you run with a composition like this.
Right there.
You do have to full send it. And a nice engage comes through from Paris. The follow-up from Busio is good, but this is a 3 versus 4. And Yehu's not in a position to follow up on the play. Yike has to burn his flash to get out of that situation. Kana then realizes, well, hang on. The play is now over. I'm in an awkward spot. And NAVI are quick to turn that play around. So they find a kill onto the Renekton. Relech gets that kill for himself. There's still a huge gold advantage for Yike, who now ticks over to level 11. But this is the point I wanted to get at. Casey's composition does run the risk of going a little bit too deep. Yeah. And if that Olaf doesn't have the damage needed to take that MF out quickly, there's a real world that NAVI in the extended play could punish that level of aggression, and the fact that Casey has to invest that deep with this Renekton Olaf duo.
You're right, Betty, and watching that fight made me kind of rethink how NAVI can actually play the team fights. Because I had the idea of it's really hard for NAVI to play because Yike will just use the Ragnarok and ignore the CC. But if Paris is just looking to CC Busio or Yehu, he doesn't care if Yike actually gets in, because then they can just one-shot Yike, who's way too deep, as you say.
It's a situation where, okay, yeah, it's true. Yike can get to the back line, but who else can get past the Talia rocks? Who else can get past the Canon ultimate? Who else can get past the Alistair? There are these tools on the side of NAVI that are designed to protect their AD carry, and the rest of KC will have to find ways to navigate around them. That is, of course, assuming this Olaf can't just 1v9 the whole game. Which, given his current gold lead, Yike is on track to do.
But I will say he ran in there. He wasn't as invincible as he made out to be.
That's true.
There's a lot of DPS with Talia and the MF.
Turret's gone. Is it? That turret? Is that turret? Observers, we might have to
He doesn't have grubs.
He doesn't have grubs, yes.
Oh, how close. Yeah.
It's 1 HP? 8 HP.
8 HP. Oh.
And he might not. Wow, he actually doesn't get it. Now KC put numbers up towards top side.
That was the Nexus. I'll tell you one thing though. KC somehow, with getting bot turret, now have access to top because of the commitment here from Mainta. And with the trade, Kana gets some plating. Poby's now going to get the Herald by his side with Relech next to him.
But even with the Herald, due to the fact that KC was so much faster on this top play, it's going to be the same speed of the tower takeage. Maybe they'll get the bot tower a little bit faster, but still a pretty nice play from KC, all things considered, with the fact that NAVI invested the Herald and they weren't able to get any sort of meaningful advantage.
Nathan is cheering right now. Cannot understate how good this feels as Kana getting the turrets first against Mainta as well. Herald's going to be transport towards mid lane here for Relech.
He's like, all right, got to get to my Raptors, bro.
Yeah. He's a little bit quicker here, is defeated by Kalis. 2.7k gold lead, double dragon for KC. We'll lull for a little bit because in 3 minutes is the next Drake. And that does feel like the point where NAVI might just have to send a fight.
The 2 items finished on this Olaf. MF needs to be wary. Ooh, I like the...
Executioners?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's interesting. I think it's mostly for Yike, right?
Yeah, I would agree.
Što će Maffa također da radi, to me isto baš zanima.
When his health is down, yeah, absolutely.
So, I can tell you exactly how much. So his W... Olaf gains 40% attack speed and 10 plus 17.5% missing health shield.
Wait, look at his
passive. Look at his it's in his passive.
Ah, here it is, yeah.
80%.
Olaf gains up to 79% attack speed and 18% lifesteal based on his missing health.
Yeah.
So up to 18%.
Yeah, I guess that can be quite a bit.
Yes.
The BT. AORUS.
Knock up. Undertow. He's going to run in. Unbreakable will when? He used it, but he's dead. Paris and getting caught out. Base checking. Even more iconic duo in the series. Sam D trying to kite it out. The charm well done on the movement. His support dies, but he does not.
I'm feeling a sense of deja vu.
Oh, yes.
Luckily, there is no objective for KC to take with this kill. And Poby is able to fully push in bot.
That mid tower looks pretty juicy right now.
Yeah, I mean, NAVI decided to not... Like, normally when you get picked like this, you decide to regroup so that the enemy can't force anything. But NAVI instead just decided to drop the mid tower and funnel some plates onto Poby instead. The biggest worry I have now, as like if I was Samdi in this game, it's really scary now to contest mid wave.
Samdi opet igra heroja bez escape-a i to mi se iskreno ne sviđa nešto preterano. Mislim, on je generalno bio dobar, ovu seriju nije ništa spec, ne igra toliko dobro koliko je igrao cijel Split, ali opet mislim da samo dati mu MF 7 puta si mu otežao posao bez razloga. Mislim, on i dalje mora da nekako preživi KC koji legitimno znaju da fokusiraju AD carry-a. Nešto je način, preka pogledaš, mnogo su veliki ilo bili komentatori. Sećaš se ono i Defishio je bio, mislim, ajde Jet ne znam da radi dalje, što način ne gleda mene i ništa. Ali kao vidi. Kasteri su bili mnogo high ilo ranije.
Instead of trying to play for bot side, so now Poby is gonna try to push this wave. I think they're gonna cross map it and try to make a play onto Kana here.
You can see Kana, as you said, Paris here, slicing Maelstrom as well as Dominus. The ult sent in by Relech, but now that he's up here with TP coming from Navi, they're full committing this third Drake off the board. 5 members in the top lane, but you're against Soul Point now.
I don't like it.
Yeah, I don't like it either.
They get the kill on Kana, but because Kana got the initial wave, I don't think they'll be able to get the tier 2 top. Maybe a few plates for Poby.
Not like flipping Ocean Soul versus an Olaf either. As Relech gets the scuttle, but now he's in trouble. KC looking for the counter play, setting up with the All Deception. Paris in a bit of trouble, but Uso behind enemy lines. He gets exhausted, slowed down, stunned up with the trample, but he battle dances over the wall. The power of Rakan is the mobility, and KC use it well.
Meanwhile, in mid lane, Sambi flashed. He went for a bit of a one-on-one against Kalist, and Kalist held his ground. With the Infinity Edge already completed, he was able to outduel that of Sam D, and he forced his flash out from him. So now the MF, no flash available. But I feel like Navi have just put even more pressure on themselves. If they'd gone for a fight there, even if they lose the dragon, I suppose it's not the end of the world, but I feel like now just conceding it for free in exchange for 1 kill, I feel like...
Yeah, they really needed to get tier 2 or at least plates, but with how KC defended quite well, they pushed in mid and forced Samdi to respond and then contested them in river as well. They were able to force them out.
He's bait, he just used his flash before, the flick back Sam D is dead. The feathers are out from Kalist as well, trying to be a counterplay from Navi, but they've walked into a trap. Yes, it's a 1-for-1, but as feathers pull back, the Ragnarok Olaf helps Kalist get a double. It's Navi making decision after decision that ends poorly as KC think about the Baron.
Vidi, možda je lagano za Navi, kad malo bolje ramislimo kako su dobili prošli game. Kalist igrao 40 minuta i onda je samo bacio Valkyriju u cijelu njihovu ekipu i likvidirao se. Možda računajući samo opet da zagrifa. Možda ono su lagana priča ako Kalist ponovi prošli game free win za nas, što i jeste bio. Mislim, bio je free win za KC, onda je Kalist odlučio da ne žele pobedi.
As well, due to the fact that he flashed forward, set Busio up to actually reach Samdi. And that's the things that people forget with Kalist, you know? Like, that's flash forward right there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry, Jack.
I think it was also just a good punishment on the fact that Samdi had no flash. You know, the fact that Kalist got that trade earlier in the middle lane, got the flash out from him, and then they replay a similar sort of trap on the middle lane, catching enemy AD carry out, converted into 2 kills. Now they have a massive gold lead and they have firm control, and it's kind of a similar story to what this series has been. KC did make some very serious throws in the previous game, and that's what NAVI is very much relying on now. A similar story to what we saw in Game 3 in order for them to bounce back here in Game 4.
So let's see the setup here. NAVI is 4. There is a Canon with ulti. Flying through the skies is Relech onto Butsu. He gets quickness immediately. Oh, the ulti terrible as Unbreakable will, but it's just an Ari cleaving through. I don't know what NAVI expected, but they've run out of options here in this game, and maybe in the series of Sam D still without his summoners. His bullet time gets interrupted and charmed, and the whole world is going upside down for NAVI as they get obliterated on Summoner's Rift.
4 members fall as KC with the Baron buff set that sight.
Ne mogu završiti, možda im mogu. Hoćemo da imamo.
KC won't quite be able to finish it, but with the 7,000 gold... I mean, wait a minute.
Yeah, that's right. Not yet. It doesn't matter. Gold in my eyes. It could be 8, it could be 9.
I mean, it was a little bit deep from Yahoo. I like that Samdi was able to trade back a kill, but yeah, the damage is severe.
I think Yahoo thought if he can kill Sam D, they can end the game. But with how slow they take the towers at this point, I mean, it starts up here. Relech goes in for a very, like, overforced engage. There's not really any sort of follow-up. Kobe can't get in range to get the flick. And then after that, KC can just run them down. And then, yeah, I think the idea here for Yahoo is like, if we kill Samdi, we end the game.
Yeah.
But they don't quite have the damage to do that.
Well, they do kill Samdi.
They did kill Samdi, but they don't have the damage to end the game.
Yeah.
But I will say, it doesn't really matter because KC 7,000 gold ahead, 45 seconds to Ocean Solve with the Olaf, who's still running people down. Yahoo, who's kind of weaving through these fights. Everywhere's going well. KC are picking up turret after turret at this rate. And as you guys said, it doesn't feel like they have the same lean back material here for NAVI, meaning they don't have the same hyperscale, they don't have the same win condition that got them back in game number 3. And the series is falling by the wayside yet again as this early game is paying dividends for KC.
Right, KC.
And they close
Your fans would like to see a clean close right now because game 3 was definitely a bit of a mess. Here's the soul though, and the TP now committed. Alright, so NAVI forced into this fight. Will this be their opportunity to bounce back, or will it be KC hammering the final nail in the coffin?
Find out. An objective bounty for NAVI to try and steal. Yahoo on the wing here, spotted out as Poby tries to zone off with a threaded volley. Yika started the Dragon off, the double up, not going to reach as Weaver's Wall going to be used by Poby, but Dragon is still very healthy. That Weaver's Wall will expire, and now with no ulti to zone off, the quickness comes in. Relech a target for the Olaf, and running through is Yike. Look at Yahoo's angle onto Poby. He's down immediately as Yike steps on up, so does Paris, but they're both going to fall. Mainter as well on the chase. I don't know what happened to him.
Ne, ovo je samo Doom, to je samo gotovo. Nema šta.
All but come to an end as KC get the soul and look to close this game out.
KC found the final fight 4-0. They're gonna run down mid lane.
Ali dobro, mislim, ovo je malo bilo bolno u smislu kao znali smo manje više ko dobija, ko gubi od samog početka. Jer mislim da NAVI definitivno nije pokazao dovoljno da se uopšte zapitamo išta. Ali dobro, pobjeda za KC, svakako. Ako ništa, jedan veoma chill dan, tako da... Da li je ovo dovoljno, da li dalje verujemo u KC, ja nemam pojma iskreno. Nisam ljubitelj na način na koji su radili bilo šta ovdje i mislim da i dalje su mogli da igraju dosta čistije, tako da puno grešaka je bilo od KC-a najiskrenije, međutim... Ne znam da li je clear top 3. Bilo kako bilo, ljudi moji, za večera smo gotovi. Skoliram malo, tu smo kasnije. Patreon Game Night, znate priču, večeras se događa to, sutra se nastavlja LEC, imamo i dalje još 4 dana LEC-a do samog kraja, tako da, što se toga tiče, LEC nastavljamo sutra. Sutrašnji meč će biti Vitality protiv Giantsa. U teoriji Vitality je bio prvi tim u regularnom delu. Giantsi su bili, ako se ne varam, četvrti, tako da bi Vitality trebao da dobije i onda ko tu pobedi ide na KC. Pobednik tog meča ide na koji? Pobednik tog meča ide na G2. Ljudi moji, to je bilo to za danas. Mi se vidimo kasnije na streamu, a do tada veliki pozdrav.
Didn't see Relich on those carries and what he really excels at.
Well, to break it all down for you, though, on PGL will be our crew to talk about KC's success.
Yay! Back to PGL here. SKC saves their run. I feel like it could have been a 3-0, and then stuff happened. Yeah, KC.